And whoa, like cut off my head there for a second. We are live. I feel like the camera needs to be higher. Hold on. I might have taken a pre-stream nap. Let's see. I think all I've got to do is just tilt this a little bit. There we go. Let's try that again. Hello, happy Wednesday. How's it going, everybody? Oh man, it has been quite a week. Let's see who's all here today. We've got Axel in the house, Jose's here, Kit's here, Nuno's here, Del Mar, Spiegel, PF, Simon. Let's see, I know there was a bunch of people up top. Hobo Banana's in the house. Can you see D's? How's it going? Iconic Fab's here. Fabrico's here. Let's see, who else? Hey, Dom. Bowser Build. Nice shirt, thank you. Yeah. I got to meet Zombie in person and got a shirt. It is very comfortable. It's a really nice shirt. My son likes this shirt too. I walked into his room earlier when he woke up from a nap and he was just kept pointing at the hedgehog. And I said, yeah, it's a zombie hedgehog. Hey, Benny. Hey, William. Sven, how's it going? I hope everyone is doing fantastic. It has been such a crazy week since I saw you guys last. Also, let me know if the music's too loud, because it's a little bit loud here for me, but I don't know if that's translating to it being loud for you or if the audio levels are fine. So, but yeah, it has been crazy. As like a brief recap, we streamed last Wednesday. What did I do? I spent the whole night after streaming trying to get Saturday's video edited. And then Thursday morning, I took off to Denver for Rocky Mountain Rep Rap Festival and was there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I flew back Monday, got back Monday evening, and then had plans to get work done, and I basically just slept through the whole night. I was exhausted. Fabrico, thank you for the 10 gifted memberships. It was such a freaking blast to air horn. Cheer. It was so much fun. Not to rub it in anyone's face that couldn't go, but I haven't been to I've never been to Rocky Mountain Rap Rap Fest. This was the second year. I'd only been to Murph before, which I love. This was next level. There was so many crazy projects from the community, from different vendors. It was just unreal. I got to meet and talk with a ton of people. It was a lot of fun. I got to meet our local Chamois XR Bunker, Del Mar, a ton of other people. So it was a lot of fun. I feel like I'm still recovering from just the sort of overwhelming, it was just, there's so much happening, so many people, so many things moving, and I still feel like even with me trying to make my way around and see everything, I don't think I saw more than like a third of what was there. There was just so much stuff. So for anyone that I did meet or I did get to talk to, it was an absolute pleasure. There was so many awesome conversations, so many kind people, just doing incredible things. As far as some of my favorite things that I saw there, I didn't get any video footage. I was there working with Lightburn, and so I was helping out at Lightburn's booth, and I had no plans of doing really any, no content for YouTube. But some of my favorite things I saw there was the Flycron, which was a Micron that didn't use motors. It used, I don't even know what, someone has to have seen what those were. I don't know what kind of like drone type propeller system they were using, but it was ridiculous. There was a Kiloprints had a Stinger, which is a insane i3 printer that was really cool to see. There was a printer called Halo that was cool. Voron teased / showed off their Cascade CNC machine. The VCore 4 was really cool. There was so much ducted fans for RC planes. Yeah, it was absolutely insane. It was like a truly flying gantry. So it was nuts. I got to see, talk with Luke over at Luke's Laboratory about the crazy printers he's been doing, as well as Tube. I actually got a Tube, so that will be fun to play around with. It was just such a great time. So I hope everybody that went is home safe. Yeah, it's just such a blur. So much stuff going on over the weekend. So, hey Lisa. Yeah, it was so much fun. It was such a great time. So in today's video, or today's stream, we're going to be hanging out. I'm going to talk a bit about the current state of the Enderwire, sort of the things that have happened, the things I've tried, and we're going to play around a little bit with the BigTreeTech Eddy, which I did install. I was playing around with it last night, unintentionally kind of. My plan was to just get the stock setup working, but after lots and lots of troubleshooting and sort of eliminating the things that seemed like they could be the most obvious issues, it still was not working correctly. So I got like hyper focused and started swapping it. So we'll go over what I did, and then we'll play around with that. And next week we will start a new build series, which will be on the Positron Journey Maker, which I'm very excited about. I have everything here. I just need to cut down the stepper motor shafts, which I will print a jig for and do by next Wednesday. So that'll be a ton of fun. I'm bad, darn call as you go live. Oh, I'm back. Yeah, so I got to meet Delmar, hang out with Delmar for a while, which was awesome. Thank you again, Delmar. I got out there and the weather was wonky. I had checked every day leading up to it, and it was like, it'll be cold and maybe snowy, but then it'll be like 70. Well, it took a turn and was much colder than I anticipated, and I didn't bring the right clothes, so Delmar had a double, like, thick insulated jacket and shed a layer of his jacket, so that way I had something when we first went out and hung out the first night. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Let's see. Swiham, late arrival due to failing washer. Oh no. Off to get food, back in half an hour ago. Sounds great. Excited to see the Eddy in action. Only ever seen marketing material of it. Yeah, so let's take a look at this, right? Let's just jump right in. We've got some coffee here, which will be really nice as well. So mechanically, everything has been done on this printer for quite a long time. I mean, I don't know when we stopped. Oh, that's not good. I have got wire. Hold on, let me kill power on this really quick. I've got power cable wrapped around HDMI cable for camera, and I can see myself pulling my camera off the tripod. So shutting it down, flipping it off. Hey, Luke. Welcome, welcome. Hey, Donato. Drag races got oh, I didn't realize they got canceled. It was so cold, and I didn't want to go outside really more than I had to, so I didn't check out the races, unfortunately. So, okay, mechanically this has been done, I think, since the last stream we left off on. I believe that if I remember correctly, we were done all the mechanical stuff. I had done most of the electrical stuff, and I was just wrapping it up. So after that stream, I got this thing working like that night or the following day. Everything was working fine. I went through all of the startup checks, no issues at all. I printed like 2 or 3 little test pieces, which I don't have. It was a Benchy and like a Voron test cube or 2, and everything was great. And then the following week, when we were supposed to do a stream on this and showing it off, I turned it on like the night before to run another print or something like that, and things were not working the way they should. Specifically, the X switch was sort of triggering sporadically. And then the Z switch, or the Z, which was the inductive probe, which I think I chucked it because I think it's defective. This guy was also not triggering sometimes and triggering sometimes. And the thing that was tripping me out was I would, so like for example, the X switch would say open and then triggered. And then when it was no longer triggered, it was still staying triggered. Yet when I would take a metal object to the inductive probe, it would say open. So I played around with different ports and different configurations and check continuity. I mean, I spent a lot of time on it trying to figure out, like, did I screw something up? And everything seemed to come out fine. So I went around, I mean, really for probably a couple hours trying to figure out the electrical. And then I got everything working again. I switched the port on the Toolhead board from the probe to, I think, filament detection. So I was using different wires in the provided wiring harness. Seemed like it was working again, and then turned off the machine, turned it back on like the following day, and it was doing the same thing again. So I don't know what the heck is going on with it. It seems like it's everything like electrically from the board down below seems fine. So I think it's something to do with either the Toolhead board or the wiring harness. And so I reached out to SIBOOR maybe 3 weeks ago or so when I was sort of doing the troubleshooting, and they sent me where is the things? Oh, I'll just show it here. So they sent me wiring harness. TJ, great to meet you at Murph. Both my daughters thank you for the engraved pencils. Yeah, I'm stoked they got them. Yeah, we were doing at the Lightburn booth, they were giving out engraved pencils on the X-Tool F1, so that was a ton of fun. We actually ran out of pencils on day 1. There was like 2,000 something attendees, and we just did not have the right amount of pencils. So I'm glad you got them, and yeah, very nice meeting you. Edge of 3D busted through. It was a blast. Hey, GPs, I hope you had a great time at Rocky Mountain. Very interested in swapping my micro probe to the Eddy sensor. Yeah, so we will dive into that very shortly here. So yeah, they gave me this, a new wiring harness. They gave me a new probe as well as a new toolhead board. I was thinking that it was a wonky toolhead board, that maybe it was something with the soldering that wasn't very good or something along those lines. So I swapped out the primary board in here, and that did not fix it. So now I'm almost thinking it's something to do with the wiring harness, which I don't fully understand because I checked continuity and everything seemed correct. And they did send me another one. The issue is, which this part's self-inflicted, because I'm not using the stock board, a lot of these connectors are not accurate, and I'd already spent so much time on the harness that's already on here, cutting and crimping it for the E3EZ board, that I just don't have it in me to tear out this wiring harness, recut, recrimp everything, when I had said initially I was probably going CAN bus. So I've got it working in a sense right now. I ripped out the inductive probe. It's running Eddy. The X switch is still really weird. When it triggers, it will work fine, but then on reboot, it won't work. I'll have to reboot it twice to get it to work properly. And the LED up here, so there's still ghosts in the system, but I know what I need to do now to get it working. But this is a very temporary thing. And again, it's going to get, I'm getting rid of the cable chains and going with the EBB, or not EBB, but the Stealth Burner SBB, I think is what it's called, CAN bus, along with the Eddy here. So, Additive Adam, hey, Modbot, great meeting you at Rocky Mountain. Yes, absolutely. There's so many amazing people. It was incredible. Hey, John, I feel like I didn't get very much time to talk to you. I saw you in passing. I saw Tripods a few times in passing and was able to like squeeze his shoulder or say hey, but it was just it flew by. I want the Nighthawk 36, all the OS teasing. I do as well. I would have done, or I would be doing probably Nighthawk on this if they were available, but they're not. So we'll see. I'll probably give this another week before I start tearing it apart to install CAN bus. And if a Nighthawk becomes available, I'll order that instead. But if not, I've already got the Stealth Burner CAN bus board, so I'll probably end up doing it. Have you tried using an EBB toolhead board through USB versus CAN bus? I have not. Somebody, I think it was it Nuno? I think Nuno, let me see here. I'll show you guys. There's apparently like an upgrade. There's an upgrade kit or a mod. Let's see, it was posted last stream. Here we go. It was Nuno. So Nuno posted this in the Discord. It says, this is how my EBB 36 connected with USB, makes it very clean. So it looks like 24, I'm not exactly sure. It looks like 24 volts and ground is being ran through maybe this 4-pin. And then, or no, I think USB. So I think USB 24 volts and ground is being ran through here. Then and then maybe USB data is being pulled from here. So this is an interesting setup. I've never seen this before, but no, I haven't ran USB because I was never sure how I would get 24 volts and ground to it without having to run separate line. So this is very interesting. There's an adapter to make it USB bus. Is this the adapter that you're talking about, Aaron? If so, I might need to try something. Like this. Your USB signal wires are on the. Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So instead of running high-low, it's 4-pin. And then how do you? Because I know with the Nighthawk, they're basically using a board to inject 24 volts into the line. So is this what? This doesn't look like that's what this board's. I'll have to look more into this. But no, the answer is I have not. I didn't even know it was really a thing until a week or two ago when Nuno had sent me that. Typically green and white are USB data lines. Okay, that makes sense. Bro, do I need to shut down Clipper first before switching off a printer with CB2? I would always recommend shutting down Clipper if you have the option to. I've definitely pulled the switch or just flipped the switch. I think like it was Delmar that used to scold me. Maybe it was Delmar and Aaron used to scold me for doing that. I try not to anymore. Knock on wood, I haven't really corrupted micro SD cards, but I know that I'm counting my blessings each time that doesn't happen. So, hey AWS, hey Cookie, does that work? Okay, so So yeah, like I mentioned, yesterday I played around with Eddy, and I've had a couple of Eddy probes for a few weeks now. I was just waiting on the official firmware to launch. So we'll take a look at the sort of two variants that are out right now. The CAN bus version is not out. So there's this version, which is Eddy Coil, which this one connects via I2C. So I know it's compatible with the EBB36, the EBB42, and it basically just comes with a small little jumper cable. So you've got this one. The unfortunate thing is, it looks like the CAN bus stealth burner board that BigTreeTech has released doesn't have an I2C port on it. I was looking at the one I had yesterday. I think it's over here, and I didn't see I2C on it, which sucks. So I kind of ruled that out. Well, unless I'm wrong, and I'd be happy to be proven wrong, but I've got like the early gen one. Which one's the early gen one that has the small ports? I think, yeah, this is the early gen one with the nightmare ports that you can't crimp. But I don't see fan. And I would think that they would have mentioned, like in their instructions or their GitHub, they mentioned the EBB36 and 42. There's no mention of this, so I would think they would have mentioned this board since it's theirs. Something tells me there's going to be a revision to this board coming out that will have that, but I don't believe that's the case right now. Hey, Alan! It's nice to meet you in person and chat for quite a few times. Sorry to anybody, anyone that got to talk to me in person knows I'm as squirrely in person as I am on stream. So sorry for anyone that was like wanting to talk and I was caught in a conversation talking about a million things. It's very much as much a squirrel in person as I am online. So, so there's that one, which was the I2C version. What did I do with that board? Oh, I put it over there. And this is the version that's in here, which is the USB version, and it's kind of, the thing I do like is that they made it fairly easy to determine. Wait, am I wrong? You know what? Maybe I'm wrong. I think that this one, I wonder if that one is like an early adopter version that they gave me then. I was wrong, because the housing on the one I have in here is clear while these are smoky, and I thought they did that so you can tell the different version, but no, there's basically just text on the sides, that way, because they look identical, that way you can see this is the Eddy Coil version, which is the I2C connector, and this is the just Eddy V1, which is the USB connection on it. Does the Eddy do the Z switch? So, you mean like for homing Z? Because I've been using it to home Z since, well, whopping yesterday. But I have some things that I've discovered over the last 24 hours that I want to point out that I think will be interesting. And I also have questions for BigTreeTech, so I've already compiled a list of questions based off of my interaction with it. So it's the same form factor as the Omron probe. So all I did really was remove Omron probe, put Eddy in its place. We've got this super long USB cable that is just sticking out the back, and it's not super safe right now because this doesn't feel like it's intended to be ran through a cable chain, so I wouldn't trust it. And the wires are already tight, so my goal is not to instantly destroy this. So I have it external right now. I'm going to be removing all chains and just going with like a mesh sleeve once I can figure out, either model up a print or find an existing one that'll work for this. Yeah, so someone's talking about Z contact. So I've used it to home ZGPs, but there are some really interesting, I was going to say good to meet you, but I wasn't really there. Saturday was crazy. Yeah, Sunday was definitely a bit more chill. Saturday was a freaking zoo. So I have been using it to home Z, but I saw something really weird on their product page that I have questions about. So this is right now, this is just ran through, again, loosely through here. I have it zip tied to the cable chain so that way the bed doesn't hit it. And then it's just a super long cable connected via USB. And the way my board is sitting in here, I didn't have enough distance because it's a full-size USB. I had to shove it through the back. I didn't have enough clearance. So I did purchase a USB-A to USB-A right angle connector, so that should help me. But right now, I've literally just got a bunch of wires sticking out the back temporarily, which is quite hideous, but this is for testing purposes. As far as configuring this, somewhat simple. The main things were I had to update the Clipper host versioning, and by doing that, I had to update the board, so you have to reflash the MCU on your board. So that's something It will connect still, so it won't have an issue with connecting, but when you try to run or query the Eddy probe, it'll throw an error. So you do have to flash Clipper host, flash your MCU, and then on the configuring side of things, there's a few things I want to show that I find very interesting that don't make a whole lot of sense. So let's see, the price on this is really competitive. Yeah, I thought it was going to be $40, and I think it's like 20 to 25, which is way less than I was anticipating. Sadly, Beacon is still not get the credit they deserve for their work. People just want to spend less on knockoffs, so people will just copy and paste. Yeah, so Beacon has some definite advantages over this probe. For one, it's got way higher, like this says it caps out at a 60°C ambient temperature. So if you're doing high temp or you're trying to heat a chamber, there's no way that this is going to work with that. Also, with Beacon, I haven't had to do any thermal compensation for it. It just does it. While it is a manual process with this and kind of an interesting semi-tedious one at that. So it's certainly not a one-to-one, but I do think that still for a lot of people that are wanting a sort of drop-in for their existing setup, since it is the same form factor as the Omron, that there's still going to be interest in it. And I need to do a lot more playing around with it, but initial impressions seem promising. So Saturday evening was extremely fun, and luckily I don't want to keep me from turning full on squirrel with my butt. Yeah, yeah. I hung out with Matt over at Beacon on Sunday night for quite a while, and they're doing some awesome stuff. I should have a Rev H coming in that I'm looking forward to playing around with the new Z Connect or Auto Z, which looks pretty freaking awesome. So yeah, there's some absolute benefits of going with Beacon and supporting the Beacon project. You get one of the Badger. I didn't get one of the Badger keychains. So let me show you what I found interesting. So nowhere did I see this or see this mentioned except for if you scroll down to this asterisk here. It says, note, Eddy coil lacks thermal compensation and is therefore not optimized for Z-homing. It is primarily designed to work in conjunction with an existing Z-homing device such as an end-stop or probe. It offers rapid bed scanning functionality when combined with an existing Z-homing device, and we have mounts allowed to use Eddy with the Chaotic CNC tab. So if that's reality, that sucks to me. I very much so dislike having two probes. It's been one of my biggest complaints on my current switch wire that's running because I'm running Clicky, but this was before official Clicky that was on the X carriage. So mine is down below on the right side of the Z tower. So I have to home the toolhead to the bottom first, and that's a one switch, and then it goes over and grabs the Clicky probe. So it's two switches. And the juggling of where I'm like, the remembering which one I need to save offsets to and juggling that, that has been my bane of my existence. I really dislike it. So that hasn't been talked about anywhere. Seeing that, I was actually quite shocked and instantly disappointed. However, I think there's been some developments since this marketing material was created that with further development of this, where that might not be the case anymore. Because if we jump over here, which is to their user manual, because the Beacon does Z-home. Well, so Beacon definitely Z-homes. It's always Z-homed, but now Beacon with the new firmware update will also auto Z offset. So yeah, Beacon's always Z-homed reliably. Why is the USB different then? What do you mean? USB shouldn't be different. That's for any of them. So anyways, looking through the manual, when you get down to the very bottom of the manual, you've got this section, temperature compensation. So how can we have a section called temperature compensation and a section that says Eddy coil lacks thermal compensation? So what I believe that they mean is that there's not built-in, like Beacon has built-in from factory their thermal compensation all figured out. I've used it on the VZBot. I've never had an issue printing with it. So the process for this is basically you're running a calibration of the BigTreeTech Eddy. So you run this command, you home it to the center, and with everything completely cool, you make a note of what the you make a note of what the Eddy temperature is. So mine was 36 Celsius. Then you set the bed to the maximum temperature you'll run it, which for this I did 100 C. I don't usually run, I know some people print ABS hotter than that and it is potentially better in some circumstances, but I often print at 100. So I set the bed to 100 C. I set the hot end to, I think 250 roughly, give or take. And then there's also a command in the, there's also a command in here, where the heck is it? Here, set idle timeout to 36,000, and that just makes it where it doesn't turn off. And so I set it to that, and I literally let the printer climb and sit at that temperature for like 30 minutes to an hour. That way I could see what the maximum temperature, and I'll have to do this again on this machine because it's not enclosed, and that'll, I'm sure, raise temperatures across the board. There we go. So at the maximum with it open, 59 C is what it capped at. So basically, what is math? Deviation, or not deviation, but difference of 23 Celsius. So then you run this command, which is your, well, you wait for it to climb down. So once you've heated up, you have to wait for it to climb back down to the your initial starting temp, which was that 36 C. So that was probably 30, 40 minutes. So it's already kind of tedious because we've spent 2 hours on this. Even though it probably a little bit overkill, I just want to make sure everything was stable. And then you put your target temperature as the maximum temp. So in my case, it was 59 C, and you run this command. And what it does is it instantly has you, so it instantly takes a measurement at the base temperature of whatever your base was, so 36 Celsius. Then you have to manually configure your heated bed and your hot end to get it to, this was doing 5 Celsius increments, 5 Celsius higher temperature. So basically, bed was off initially, then I set bed to like 40 Celsius and the hot end to like 190. And then you have to slowly wait for it to climb to that 5 Celsius higher range, and you want to sort of stabilize as close to that target. And then it has you do another manual Z offset. So it is a manual process. It was, I think, 4 or 5 measurements in my range of 5 Celsius increments. So it took quite a while. And this is, again, another one of those things where it's probably not that big of a deal because it's a one-timer thing, but this was not something that I had to do using like the beacon probe. I slapped it on there and it was ready to rock and roll. There wasn't a couple hours of me doing this sort of calibration. So definitely something to consider. And that's really the main thing. That was everything else was fairly simple. It was easy to connect. I can show you, I can show you here. Also, I haven't looked at chat. I'm sorry, here I am ranting. But let's see, as you're a pro streamer, don't forget to smash that like button. Yes, if you have not hit the like button, please do it. Definitely helps out. It only takes about 20. Yeah, so Beacon, I think I was told that they have it set to where it can be, like they confirm up to 120 Celsius, it operates fine, but I think they said they have users using up to 150 Celsius. So it's a lot hardier of a chip and board. There's no doubt about it. Let's see, Eddy coil has no temperature compensation. That's why it shouldn't do Z homing. So yeah, I think it doesn't have it if you don't do this calibration. So when you do this calibration, it basically creates in your config. Oh, I should probably turn the printer on, huh? That would help. Let me turn this on really quick. Hey Arthur, will this work with Eddy coil as you have an Eddy which seems to have more in it? I think it will work with the Eddy coil. There is a slightly different, there's slightly different instructions. Is this turning on? Yeah. Let's see. There's slightly different instructions for coil versus USB. So for USB, execute, so yeah, SSH in the terminal, run that, then add your configuration, which is a handful of different headers and parameters. For coil, same starting point, serial div, temperature sensors, that looks all the same. You have bed mesh. Hold on, where's the installation portion of it? I'm under the impression that the answer is yes, that they can both have this manual temperature. Yeah, they have to be able to. So the only thing that they're using is the temperature of the actual unit itself, so that way it knows, hey, at this temperature I need this offset. So if they're giving you temperature sensor BigTreeTech, so the one you need is the here, sensor probe BigTreeTech Eddy. So that's for USB. And do they have it under coil? Probe Eddy, temperature Eddy. Maybe they don't have it. So there's the MCU. You might be right. I think you're right, actually. Because the thing that they're using is temperature probe BigTreeTech Eddy. So they have a generic 3950 inside of it, but I don't see it. I don't see it mentioned in here. You got the MCU. That's interesting. So I have a small little list of questions. Okay, Eddy USB has manual temp compensation process. It appears coil does not have the needed internal thermistor, or we'll just do temp sensor. Does this mean only USB is compatible with thermal compensation? Will this be the case? Will pan variant have this? Thank you for that, GPs. I didn't notice that. That's a really interesting thing. I think that's what it came to. Eddy coil can't do temp compensation. Yeah. Hey, nice. How's it going? Hey, BBs. Yeah, that's about. I didn't realize that. That's interesting. Yeah, I would not want coil then if it were me. Like if you don't have the temperature compensation, it's just a pain. I'm sure some will and don't mind. But yeah, no. Good old nope. Hey man, do you know if the USB version of BigTreeTech Eddy will work with Marlin? That I have no idea, Jose. I'm gonna say I don't think. I know RMRRF has their own anything. Yeah, I don't think it will. I don't think it will. Run Windows updates and get the new version of Notepad. Is the new Notepad a lot nicer? Eddy coil is basically an improved Omron Pro, with Eddy USB is more like a beacon clone. Yeah, that's interesting. I had no idea there's no thermal compensation. Okay, so what I'm running in mine, let's take a look. Let's try this again. So I did run the, I had it set up with, God, let me just show you. Also, look at all, these are all of my yesterday, last night, playing around with these all day long as I was trying to figure out getting this configured. So right now, all I have in here is, nope, I must have passed it already. Here we go. Where did I put the MCU information? What the heck? Okay, so we have the temp sensor, which is on both of them. Then we've got the probe config, which has your XY offset, which on this there is no X offset, and Y offset I just copied from the Omron one I was using. Didn't change data range or any of this. This is, I guess, what is unique to the USB one, it seems like, which is interesting. Speed, I think 300 was default. I'll keep it at that. And I'm running a 10x10. Here we go. So I've got the MCU serial ID. It's an RP2040 chip, and then so this is where the temperature compensation comes into play. So when you run that calibration that I was talking about, it auto generates this. So I don't fully know what all of this means, but this is what you're getting with the the thing that I ran, where you basically have it set to a different temperature, then you run it and all that. So mine did error out. There was one, I might need to, so when you're running the, sorry, I'm going around, there's a lot. Trying to give everyone as much information as I can. I realize more and more I'm very OCD. My config is ugly, Aaron. I am absolutely aware of that, but it's just been such a mess with me playing around with things. I finished my SIBOOR Enderwire, and no matter what, I've tried to keep getting layer interesting. I haven't had any layer shifts on Y. Granted, I haven't done a ton of printing. I don't know what motor are you using. So things I would check is, if you're using a really small motor, you might need to go with a beefier motor. I would also check your motor current, and I would also make sure that you're not using Stealth Chop. Stealth Chop, if you have that enabled, which I don't know if the config has it, you want to disable it. That was on my first B0 build. I didn't realize that I configured it wrong, and that was giving me all sorts of issues. So, hey, Latien, you got a Shadow Legends ad? That's amazing. Hey, Monkey Butler. So, yeah, in the default instructions, and we'll get playing with this in a second here. For anyone that's interested in sort of the technical on this, I will end up doing a full video once I get all my questions answered and probably convert another printer. But I want to provide, as I've spent quite a few hours in the last 24 hours on this, like I want to share the initial info for anyone that's got one of these on order or that's just interested. So when you run that test, the two parameters that you set are the peak temperature, so this is the maximum temperature that you saw the Eddy get to, and then you set your step. And the step increment is from your ambient temperature with everything off to your maximum temperature, how many measurements do you want, like how many Celsius steps do you want to have to remeasure your Z offset? So the default is 5 Celsius, and I think that 5 Celsius potentially could be overkill, because when I got to I think it was when I got towards the higher portion of my step range, the difference between one measurement and the next as far as the offset was so close that it errored out, like it was identical. So I might need to increase a step and say, hey, like we don't need to take a measurement of Z to calculate for thermal drift every 5, maybe every 8 is sufficient. So that's something that I'll have to play around with. But that was an error I ran into. So I think that I should have more data here. But once I ran into that matching Z offset when I was doing my manual measurements, it gave me an error, exited the config, and then just sort of pasted what it had set up to that point. So, and it had taken such a long time to do that, I didn't have it in me last night to run through it again, and it's been working fine. So anyways, that's what's going on here. Jealous of the temp outside. It is really nice here. Well, look on your screen, bottom right. 65 and sunny. Is that accurate? Does it say Nampa? Oh, yeah, no, that is accurate. It is 67 and sunny out here. It's a beautiful day. I've got the blinds closed so that way it doesn't look too blown out here, but it is a beautiful day outside. Oh, it was an ad in the bottom right. Sorry, I cannot tag anyone. I'm on mobile, no worries. So yeah, let's take a quick look at what I'm running. I did initially have it set up where I was running, I'll show it here. So here's my starting print macro. And anyone that's interested, I did share this config. Full discretion, I'm using an E3 Easy board. I'm having some funky stuff happening still, and I'm using Eddy Current, and I'm switching to CAN. So I don't know how much value there will be in here, but for anyone that just wants to check it for some reference, feel free to do it. Dad was on your screen. Oh, was it a Raid Shadow Legends ad? Oh, that's freaking funny. It's the original motor, and a few people have now suggested replacing the motor. Okay, yeah, I'm not using the original motor. I'm using the, God, I don't know what this is, but I can measure it really quickly here. Yeah, from the get-go, a few people had sort of warned me that the motor, so this is a 40 millimeter thick motor, which I believe is at least 5 more than the stock one. Okay, yes, so anyways, I was running adaptive initially on here, but it's so fast that it doesn't really make sense. And also because native Clipper, although it has adaptive meshing, still doesn't have adaptive purging. It wasn't purging, it was purging outside of my mesh, which meant that it was a little bit too close, and I was worried that potentially it would cause premature wear on the bed. So now I'm just scanning a 10 by 10 of the entire bed. So let's do that really quickly here. Let me just turn this around. Oh. Here we go. What did I miss? Nice start macro, very minimal. I think this came in one of the configs I found, and all I did was tweak a few small things. So I still need that lesson, Aaron, on the macros. I would love to do a deep dive on macros on a video, and it would be fun to pick your brain on that when I get closer and do my own research and see sort of some of your thoughts and opinions, because I know you're way more knowledgeable with that than I am. So right now, if I go and I try to home this, it's going to error out because of whatever funkiness. Let's see, save and restart. Oh, now it won't, because if I restart it and this LED isn't active, that means everything's gonna work as it should. There's definitely some like ghosts in the system. So now it'll work fine if I go and I home this. This has nothing to do with Eddy though. That's something to do with the electrical of the stock setup that I've got going on. Milo vs. Cascade, which you will be building on stream? So I don't know if you saw Alan over at Mandic really posted, but me and Alan both got Milo kits, and we will be doing at least the first stream and the last stream as a collaborative thing. I don't have all the info. Me and him still need to chat and figure out the starting date. It's going to be after I finish the Positron Journey Maker, so at least a couple of weeks out or a few weeks out. But yeah, we're going to be doing that. The Cascade, I think they said kits won't be available till end of year, and the Cascade looks awesome, but it's more in the form factor of like a, I have a Nomad. I have a Nomad 3 I've had for a long time. It's more in that form factor, and I don't think it's, is it a mill? I can't remember if on that one, if the bed moves or if it's stationary or if it's a, so we'll see. But yeah, Milo I'm very excited for. This is Eddy USB running on here. So Monkey, if you didn't see it, we discussed it a little bit ago, but it appears that only the USB variant for now has thermal compensation. It's manual thermal compensation, so you have to run a calibration on your own setup, which takes quite a bit of time, but it seems like there's an added temperature sensor non-existent in the coil variant of it. So I'm gonna ask that question, but let me see if I go here and I go to, let's just run a, there we go, calibrate. Did that error out? Pour up triggered prior to movement. It was working fine before. It triggered it again. That's weird. All right. Well, let's just fire off a print. Let's do, okay, I got an idea. Let's just fire off a print and see if that does it, because I was not having issues. Let's just do like a big first layer. Okay, well, yeah, let's heat it up and do a big first layer thing so we can see how the, I haven't done a full first layer yet, so let's see how this goes. It's moving down as it moves to that position. Weird. How was, hey, flight back was pretty good. I know you had a longer wait in the airport than I did, but the 3-hour wait was pretty brutal. I was up till I think 2 in the morning on Monday. And so, what is your Z move on bed mesh? It's a great question. But yeah, the flight back was smooth. I got home and I crashed out for the night. So my bed mesh looks like horizontal move Z2. Is that what you asked for? What is your Z move? Horizontal Z move is 2, which is what they recommended. I haven't had issues on it. I haven't had issues on it before. Hey, zombie! My kiddo likes this shirt a lot. I slept for 10 hours. Yeah, I had plans to do stuff and it just did not happen. Okay, so let's heat this up. 2 is what Beacon uses, so that sounds correct. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I would think that the built-in built-in height map would be working the same way as the one that I'm running in my start macro, but maybe it's not. 1 second here. Let me go up on Z. Okay, let's get some filament where we can really see the first layer. What is this? Polymaker. Ooh, the Halloween. I don't really want to waste this on calibration print, but we'll use the Halloween stuff that we used last week. Hey Dan, it was great seeing you, good sir. I hope all is well. Yes, it was great seeing you. I feel like we got quite a bit of talking time in, which was nice. Yeah, I'm doing well. Just trying to get back in the groove of things. Still feeling a little bit tired, but I think that's probably not from the event so much. This job thing is getting in the way of my homies. Work first. Work comes first. All right, filament is loaded. Okay, so we're just gonna do, I don't know, a single, let's do scale, not uniform scale, and we'll do 0.4. Yeah, we'll do this. We'll just leave it on the cooling is the, no, cooling shouldn't have any effect unless it's such a long layer. Yeah, let's just give this a go and see how it does. Hey Liz! Great shirt, thank you. I was like, I gotta rock the zombie hedgehog shirt. How are you doing? How was your trip back home? Hey Steve! Have you tried leveling your bed? Yes, yes I have. Okay, so it should be heating up. Let me make sure I'm not getting any errors. Nope, everything looks fine. So this will be a 10 by 10 mesh that it's gonna run. I'm not running it nearly as fast as Beacon. I don't know what their maximum rating is at, but the default values that they have it set to is pretty quick, and I'm happy with that. So I might ask, let me see, I'll add it to my notepad. Let's see, maximum recommended scanning speed. I have a feeling they set it to what they did because that's what they feel comfortable with for reliability, but I will still ask. So yeah, it's climbing in temperature, the bed to 60°C. Trip back was awesome. I'm refreshed and renewed and excited for more projects. Nice. Did you have one long night's sleep? No silicone sock? Did this come with a silicone sock? It damn well might have, and I might have lost it, or maybe I broke it? I don't know. I don't know what happened to the silicone sock. But no, there is none. We're going risky. Any advice on starting G-code? Starting G-code for Orca Slicer. I have a warranty before and can't get it to work. I can show you what I'm running on mine. I will say that I stumbled with it even just a bit last night getting this set up, but I can still show you what I've got. I know Aaron is my the community macro voodoo wizard, but I can at least show you what I have in mind. I realized I didn't take many photos of the event. I think there have been a few posts already, and I was in a few live streams, but not many on my phone. I don't think I took a single photo with anybody on my phone, which is not like me. I took some screenshots from people that were talking to me. I took a few screenshots, yeah, from like people talking to me about projects and stuff. I'm like, oh, that sounds really interesting, and I don't want to not remember it, so I took screenshots. But yeah, actual photos, if someone didn't take the photo, I didn't take any, which is really weird to me. So this is a 10 by 10 mesh. It's done. So pretty freaking fast. Again, I'm running my beacon at ridiculous speeds, but for 100 points right there, like that was very fast. I don't know, I didn't time it, but I don't think that was more than 10 to 12 seconds maybe. I just have it running one pass, yeah. It might not be a bad idea to add one reverse pass. I think that's what Beacon does, right? Yeah, Beacon definitely does that. So it might not be a bad idea to run that, but this is it, 10 by 10, max 0.155, min, so not bad for an Ender 3 bed. I did shim it. I did shim the bed though, so that's part of it. Let's see how first layer's looking. It's looking a little bit further away, so I'm wondering if the thermal compensation didn't... Yeah, that's definitely looking further away. So, I don't know if thermal compensation is quite working the way it should be, unless... Let me see here, if I just jog this... Let's see, let me jog this down a little bit. Minus 0.5. Because I definitely had this closer yesterday. Once they get starting here, I'll show you guys the first layer, but let's get this. Let's see, what such is this? No, this is the BigTreeTech Eddy, so it's a little, looks kind of like this. It's the same form factor as the little Omron probes, if we focus. I mean, it looks just like an Omron probe with a different connector on the top as the USB connection. Well, this has USB. No, this is not USB, I lied, this is I2C, but it has a little connection on top. Okay, so I'm just gonna keep jogging this down. It looks about right. Probably a little, I have to adjust flow, I think, on this too, because I haven't really done much calibration. Let's go up actually a hair. Let's go up 0.25. I'll try another 0.01. Okay, so I have Z offset set to negative 0.155 from where we were at. And this looks close. There's still a little bit of over extrusion on the ends, but I think that's more of a, I need to dial in flow on this thing. I haven't done any real calibration. So let's go ahead and go here, pause this. Save this, Z offset has been calculated, okay. Probe Eddy, Z offset, okay, so it shows that it's now 2.055. So let's stop this, save config. Yeah, the cable is not ideal. I have a cable tie. I have a cable tie on the chain back here on the Z chain, so that way it doesn't get hit by the bed. But this is a very temporary solution until I either go with USB, Toolhead board, or CAN bus. I think you missed the talk earlier, but there's definitely ghosts in the system as far as some really odd behavior with the stock Toolhead board and wiring harness. I think that, so if you've got, like, the beacon costs more, but as long as you can justify the cost, it's going to be, no doubt in my mind, the superior product. I've been running beacon on my VZ bot, even without the Z auto offset thing that's coming out, and it's been flawless. Like, it is a fantastic option. There's no manual calibration. So yeah, I definitely think that unless you're getting this, like, again, I understand the cost difference. So if it's a cost thing, I get it. And if you don't want to have to reprint stuff and you want to drop in, I also get it. But aside from that, like, if you're planning for a build, I would definitely still prefer beacon over this any day of the week. So, okay, let's try this again. So we've got same exact file. Let's actually make sure that it's saved to our, config. I think I said it was 2 point something. Yeah, okay. So it shows that it did change the Z offset to 2.055 there. So hopefully that's good. What about cartographer probes? Same as beacon, map the cost and CAN bus. Yeah, the main reason why I haven't looked at or covered cartographer is, like, with Eddy, it's a different form factor, and I don't doubt that on the code side there's stuff that's been taken, but cartographer to me is such a one-to-one clone that, like, I don't feel right about it. Like, at least with this, it kind of fills a different need, which is drop-in replacement for people. So I've got nothing, I've talked about this before, but like when I got into 3D printing, I pretty much was only able to use clones. So like, I don't have anything per se against someone using a clone. But I also, it's a difference between me being like, you know, understanding someone using it and me showing it off and promoting it. So Yeah, Chep's been dealing with that with, I think, Sunly, right? So, I mean, everyone's got to do what's right for them. So I'm not here to, you know, point fingers and like that. For me, I looked at the cartographer and said, this looks like a 1-to-1. I don't see anything groundbreaking with this. You know, so, well, this, I'm like, okay, I see the appeal based off of its form factor being completely unique. PF Dennis, thank you very much for the memberships. Let's see, let's go. I gotta get some more sound effects. We'll do a Hadouken for PF. And we'll do cheers as well. Thank you, PF, for the support. Didn't realize cartographer is a clone of Beacon. That's a shame. Yeah, I mean, I think it's using an RP2040, so it's a different chip. But I haven't looked into it heavily, but I had heard that they literally just copied everything that Beacon was using on the code side, and like that even in the code there was places where, like, when Beacon releases something new, they just copy, paste, and replace. So whether that's reality or not, I don't know. But it's just, it's not for me. That's all. Okay, so let's see if this looks better now as the offset, because it did change, but it doesn't look like it's applying the Z offset. Like, it's applying it. No, it's not. So I've got to figure out what is the deal with that. It's applying the Z offset on the back end, but it's not applying it on print restart, which is really odd. I wonder if it has something to do with the thermal compensation that's sort of countering it. Interesting mod. I'm going to replacing the two bottom extrusions of the 3040. Cartographer is a one clone with a different firmware. Yeah. I thought this was done. The Enderwire? No. Especially not because I'm doing mod stuff too. I don't know if it's ever going to be done. I feel like this is going to be like the ongoing thing. Yeah, it doesn't look like it applied, because there's no way, this is not a thermal drift thing. The temperature is the exact same as it was just a moment ago at 60 Celsius. So I don't know what the deal is. I don't know what the deal is on the back end. Part 11. Let's see. Let me look at the back end of this really quick. If I go desktop here. So we have a Z offset here. Something tells me that this is what's screwing with me as far as me changing it and it not really affecting it. Since this is intended to be sort of a map or a grid for it to know what to use as a Z offset based off its temperature, something tells me that it's not, it's ignoring this value, or it's taking this value and sort of splicing it amongst this. Bed mesh defaults. Because there's no other, I don't see any other Z. There's no other place that it could be applying it. It has to be in this block here. The bed is still weak on this printer and not really reliable. Yeah, the bed, yeah, it's definitely not a great bed. So what I'll do is then, for this case, until I figure out what I've got to do on the config, so that's another thing too. Let me, let's see. Let's go back to my notepad. So Z offset, too high on print, sets correctly by baby stepping, and see it update in config. However, on restart, it seems to ignore this value and return to existing question mark. Okay, so let me baby step it down so we can at least see it correcting for this bed. So yeah, let me manually baby step it. Save and close. No, we don't need to do that. We're just gonna baby step. So let me bump it down. I think we said what, negative, it needed to go down. It was negative 0.15. Let me see. Yeah, so it's the exact same value. So So it's just not, it's like, although it's applying it to the Z offset, it's not applying it across the board, which makes me think it's something to do with that thermal compensation. So maybe there's something in the thermal compensation grid that I need to adjust to give it its baseline. Let me see. Hey, Puma, how's it going? Nice to meet you in person. What hot end? This is the stock hot end. I haven't had issues with it yet, but I also haven't ran it enough to really say much about it. But it's what? It was like a V6 style clone almost, with a bimetal heat break and like a clone CHT nozzle. So nothing fancy. Okay, that feels about right. So let's pause this, stop this, and reprint it so we can at least see the sort of the grid, or see its first layer. But yeah, I've got to figure out what the deal is with the Z offset. And then when I get that info and I get it working correctly, I'll relay it back. I had it working last night, so I've had some weird stuff with this printer. Let's start over. So print. So 0.307 is what I've got on here. What do you think of the Fadus drop effect? So I think it's a solid hot end. I've got two of them. I've got like the original one. I ran one on a V0 for a while, and then I've got like the original version, and then I have their newer high flow one, which I haven't installed on anything yet. The thing that I find a little bit tricky is because Fadus makes the Rapido, it's sort of hard to find where it makes sense to recommend it. Like, it feels like to me the Rapido is competing with their own drop effect, their new high flow drop effect. I don't think it's a bad hot end by any means, but again, like, the Rapido is sort of so proven and so many people like it that it becomes difficult to figure out, like, you know, it's sort of so many people love the Rapido. Is it worth the cost to upgrade to this kit? I'm not sure. What do you mean, the Enderwire kit, or are you talking about the Eddy? Did you forget to restart? No, I didn't, did I? Oh, did I forget to restart? No, I don't think I did. Did I? I'm pretty sure. I think I restarted, and now I don't know. It should have been working fine from yesterday when I had it right, but I can try that after this as well. Drop effect is more compact since the heater is sideways. Okay, so size is one of the things. Do you start macros say load mesh? So my start macro does load the mesh. I like double checked that last night. Where the hell is it? It doesn't load the mesh. Now I'm confused. Now I'm really confused. Bed mesh calibrate. So I've got to scan. I had a second line here. Did I remove it? It looks like I removed it. Interesting. Okay, since I haven't restarted it, it is at least using the mesh, so that we can take a look at the first layer. So even, it still throws me off. So even if the mesh is in the starting G code, it completely dumps it or ignores it unless you load it. I didn't think that was the case. I looked at the, I'll pull it up right now, let me see. There's a new Rapido 2 with upgraded heat break. Don't forget to, the Rapido 2 is annoying to work with. If you're getting it, get spare thermistors. Rapido 2F fiber? What is that? I haven't heard of those. Sorry. So I really enjoyed this build, and I think that once I get the toolhead situation figured out, it's going to be a rock solid printer. But it depends. I would say it's worth it if you're going to enjoy the build process and you're going to, if it's going to breathe new life into like an ender that you already have. But if you don't enjoy building and you're gonna go out and have to source an ender, I don't know that it depends. It really just depends on sort of what your goal is with it. I think all in all, because the kit's what is it retailing at now? The kit is, so kit is $359 without printed parts. So if you don't have the printer and you're spending $150 plus $360 on this, that's quite a lot. I mean, you can get a lot of other printers for that price point. But if you already have the ender and you also enjoy the conversion and build process, there's a lot to learn and there is a lot of value in that. But again, it just depends. It really depends. Is Micro Center still doing the $99 one? First layer looks good. There's a little bit of extra extrusion around the edges, but I think that's more of a me needing to do a rotation distance / flow calibration for this printer or for this particular filament. You can get the Creality Core. Yeah, you can buy the Ender 3 V3 that we just unboxed that looks and has been really promising. I've only ran the print on stream and another print, but seems like it should be nice to get upgrade for it. Fiber has an RNC coated heat break. Interesting. Let me turn off autofocus so that way it doesn't keep trying to focus hunt. First layer so far is looking beautiful. We'll see as it gets across the whole thing. I have not run a full first layer on this. I did play around with this quite a bit last night, but that was one thing I wanted us to see on stream to see if it just goes awful or if it does hold it. I think it is. I think that it is compensating. I did run a. Yeah, I don't understand. I feel like it is compensating. The view makes me see. Oh, really? Sorry. Sorry, CB. The Ender 3 frame I had at Rocky Mountain Rep was $20 to self-source all the stuff for the conversion. Holy crap, that's awesome. Yeah, it does. Let me zoom out a little bit more as it's getting. We'll peel it in the end and take a look at it. But so far it is super uniform. It is absolutely. It has to be compensating. There's no way that this is without compensation. So I don't understand. Let me look really quick here. Clipper docs. Because I was reading last night. Let's see. We will be doing a giveaway too. I'm opening up the Polymaker filament giveaway in 22 minutes. Also, if you haven't hit the like button, smack it. We got 184 people here and 71 likes. I believe we can get, let's try to aim for 150. Let's see, bed mesh. Okay, profiles, calibration. After bed mesh calibration has been performed, it is possible to save the current mesh into a named profile. This makes it possible to load a mesh without reprobing the bed. Profiles can be executed. Profiles, okay, so yeah, that's for loading. It should be noted that each time a bed mesh calibrate occurs, the current state is automatically saved to the default profile. The default profile can be removed, okay? Any other profiles can be removed in the same fashion. Previous versions of bed mesh always loaded the profile named default in startup if it was present. This behavior has been removed in favor of allowing the user to determine when a profile is loaded. If the user wishes to load, the default print is recommended to add. Okay. But the thing is, we're not trying to load the mesh. It should be like it's. So the thing that I still am confused with, and based off this, I believe it is working the way I think it is I could see if you had a mesh you had created previously and you wanted to load it, that you would need to call on it. It doesn't just auto apply it. But in here, after it runs the mesh, it updates the mesh every time. Like it said it was a range of 0.31 or whatever previously, and now it's a range of 0.272. So it has ran that mesh and it appears to be loading it, because normally I feel like if it hasn't been loaded, it won't show up visually here. When it says startup, it means on, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, So as long as if you're meshing every single time, which is what I'm doing because it's a 10 by 10 is like, you know, 10, 15 seconds with this, I don't think you have to load it. It appears to be working fine. However, if you're running a mesh once and then you want to call on it, you do have to load it. It's not, otherwise it doesn't exist on boot. So, okay, that's what I thought. Cool, okay, so we are good. I was like, there's no way. I've seen this printer print when I was initially testing it, and the first layer was not this consistent across the entire thing. So it is loading that mesh. Yeah, I do not like this this wire in the back. It needs to be routed. Clipper always goes off its newest mesh unless it's off stored. Sweet. Okay. If you bed mesh every print, then it's always loaded and fine. In my opinion, you should bed mesh every single time. It's cheap, faster. Yeah, I agree. So if it was not an Eddy, like a Eddy Current probe, then I would do adaptive meshing, just to speed it up, and then I would probably have camp installed as well, so that way I could use the adaptive purging. But with this, because it's so quick to scan an entire bed, I just run the full thing. With camp, I don't see a need for not doing a mesh every print. Big prints, you want it, and for small prints, it takes... Yeah, I agree 100%. I feel the exact same way. Thanks, Robbie. Camp, basically, it's cheap insurance. I don't see why you wouldn't do it. Worst comes to worst, you don't need it. And otherwise, if you did need it, it saved your butt, so... Yeah, the first layer is looking solid. I mean, again, this is an Ender 3 bed. This is not a Mix 6 plate. This is a thin PCB heater off of a, you know, I don't know. This one was probably not a refurb. It was a new printer when I purchased it, but this bed is certainly not this flat. This is with the correction taking place. So the main thing I got to figure out is what's going on with the initial Z offset. Why does it seem like on firmware restart it's not taking it? Have you tried scanning your bed? What's next build? So next Wednesday we're starting the Positron Journey Maker build. I've had all the stuff for it for a while. I just need to go out and chop off the motor, top of the motor shaft. They're too long. So this is Sony. There we go. This is all the things. So they sent over the custom CNC'd parts for it, and then I sourced all of the other components, which is basically this whole thing, all the hardware, motors, micro probe, lead screw, all that stuff was AliExpress. So the last thing I've got to do is take these motors, there's a jig, and then I bought some diamond wheel cutters for a Dremel, so I'm gonna try to chop those off and hope for the best. So we'll start that next week. I'm hoping that with 2 long streams, we're able to basically complete it. If that doesn't happen, I might have to do a non-Wednesday stream to complete it, because I think after that, me and Alan over at Mandic really are going to be starting the Milo 1.5 build. So also, thank you Zombie for 21 months, and thank you Lisa for 22 months. Jack sighting, I feel like we can make happen. He's got a pretty cute like overall worker outfit thing on. Hey Phil. Yeah, when I first built this printer and I ran a full mesh with the Omron, the deviation was like, it was like a millimeter across the bed, and so I shimmed the bed. I think I used just some M3 shims underneath one side of the bed to basically even it out, and that got it down to much less. So I mean, this mesh that it created says it's a 0.272 across the bed, which for being an Ender 3 bed is, I think, pretty dang good. I keep forgetting I get these messages every month. By the way, how was Rocky Mountain? Thank you, Mr. Melton, for the 10 months. It was incredible. I don't know what I was expecting, but it surpassed any expectations I could have had. I only wish that I had had more time to go around and sort of see everything a bit more. I got to talk to a couple of the, like, so in the sort of the people that brought stuff, I don't know what they're called, maker tables or like community tables. I got to talk to Big Jano, which was really cool to see some of his LED projects. There was somebody that was, I got their a screenshot of their stuff, but they make really cool SCADIS mounts, which everyone knows I'm a huge fan of these IKEA SCADIS pegboards. So I got to talk to him for a bit. He also had this really cool modular planter system that looked great and I was a big fan of. So I talked to him for a while. I got to talk to, was it Hendrik? If you're on X or Twitter, the guy that does all the crazy electroplating stuff. I mean, it was super cool. I've been following him forever and always drooling over his insane work. So being able to talk to him in person and see some of those props or creations he's done was so freaking cool. It was incredible. It's despite how RatRig is using hybrid kinematic, even with only one toolhead. Yeah, it's the RatRig V-Core was freaking sweet, man. I think we're building one on the channel at some point here, and it was such like a small detail, but the four corners have these LEDs behind the green, like green crossbeam looking things, and it gives it such a distinct look. It's a gorgeous machine. Like I talked to, there was two guys there from the RatRig team. Names, I'm tired still right now, slipping my mind, but I got to talk to them for a while and ask a bunch of questions, and I'm very excited for V-Core 4. It looks like, and they just said they're switching from the inductive probe to standardizing on Beacon shipping with it, which is pretty freaking sweet. Where do you have the shims? So the shims I put, yeah. So the shims are between the bed frame and the PCB bed. So you basically have flex plate, magnet, PCB heater, then my shim, then the large spacer, and then the you know, like X-shaped bed frame down below. So I can actually probably show you. So it's a front to back shim. There's no shims on the front, there's shims on the back too. So I had a slight lean with it. At least you did not do an amber. Did not do an amber herd? What? What did I miss? Minder 3 is like 0.14. Wow, that is fantastic. Yeah, that's really great. It was awesome. You went last year, right, Zombie? I'm almost positive you did. Collie, thank you for 10 months. We got these sound effects for all of the, here. Thank you very much. New2 was there breaking the Annex curse with a K3 and K2. Do you have to regularly adjust the offset, or is it like a one-time thing with the Eddy? So that is a great question. It's with the coil version that doesn't have a temperature sensor inside of it, you will absolutely have to manually adjust it. And according to their product page, they don't actually recommend you use it as a Z probe. They recommend only scanning with it and having a secondary Z, which is a bummer. So with this one, there is an added temperature sensor and a manual calibration process that I started running through. So I'm not sure if I screwed something up or if there's something funky going on, but I will have to figure that out. It's a little bit rough in the back here. I will show it. It looks like it's a little bit closer. Definitely looks like it's a little bit closer back there. I'll show it in a second. Do you ever have issues with mesh consistency with the Clicky probe? I have not. Clicky has been incredibly reliable to me. So I'm running Clicky on 3 printers. The 2.4 has Clicky PCB. Mercury 1.1 has, I think that's just standard Clicky. And then I'm using a standard Clicky on the switch wire. And once I got them set up, they have been, no issues. They have been rock solid. So I'm still using cables and sockets and haven't used CAN bus or PCB. Can the Eddy coil sensor be used without a PCB board? Yeah. So mine's not have a PCB board. There's a cable being ran from the Eddy coil all the way back to the Raspberry Pi, or in my case, the E3EZ. So you definitely don't need a toolhead board. Oh, this is a 2-layer, isn't it? We should kill it, right? I don't think I wanna, or should we let it do a second layer? Second layer is definitely gonna be a lot faster than first layer. Will the new Eddy version for CAN also have? Yeah. As far as I'm aware, it will. Oh my God. Yeah. I get it, PC. I get it. It was over my head the first time. Yep. No need for a second layer. Okay, I'll pause it, or I'll kill it. Okay, yeah, we stopped it. Stop. So the only section that I really see much difference as far as it not looking as great is back here. Let me see if I can show it. So right about here, there's some over extrusion towards the end. There's a little bit of around the whole thing, and it could possibly be that I need to still slightly adjust the offset or flow. But yeah, the edge of it looks like it's got basically a bead of over extrusion. Throughout the entire center up until that perimeter though, it looks really consistent. So let's, I'll peel it really quick here. I feel like I'm gonna damage it because the bed's still hot, but whatever. No, bed is cooling down, so let's just peel. So I got 3 little dots. I got 3 little dots that I just tore. Here, you can see it kind of, here, here, and here. But that was stuck down really hard as a single layer. So I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I think most printers, had I pulled that hard, it would have probably torn even easier than that. So, I mean, that's the first layer. It's pretty damn consistent. That was a lot of, like I said, pull force moving this up. But yeah, so before this stream, I Dawn dish soaked it, so it's like, it's clean. This printer's been sitting for a couple of weeks as I've been busy wrapping up other stuff, so it had some dust on it, and I was like, I'll give it a deep clean. So it's a pretty dang good first layer. I mean, I don't really print this big ever, so this was more to show an extreme example of, you know, kind of edge to edge. I think price point depends on which version you get, and I believe it's between 20 to 25 US, so about 30 to 40% less than I thought it was going to cost. So I'm just curious about, the main things I'm curious about is this whole Z offset and thermal compensation thing. Because if I have to adjust it every single time, it's going to drive me crazy. So one thing I kind of want to do is not save the offset I just applied, because someone's saying they're not sure if I restarted the firmware, and that's possible. It's possible. I don't know. This is not Polyterra, or maybe it is. I mean, it's the Halloween orange zombie that we used last time. So what I want to do is just shut down everything, or let's just do a full reboot. Let's just do a full reboot. If you did not tune PA and flow, do that and then do a reading for the first layer. Yeah, I have not done, no, I did not tune PA or flow. I would have done it had I not had Shadow Legends. That's funny. I would have done it had I not had issues with the Toolhead board on this printer. It would have been, the plan was this should have been fully enclosed in printing like weeks ago, but because of the sort of ghosts I've had in the electronics of it, it's taken a lot longer to troubleshoot. Will CAN work on every CAN board or just BigTreeTech? It should work on every. I don't see how they could make it proprietary since it's a like communication protocol. I don't see how they can make it just work on theirs. I think it would have to work on all of them. Okay, so now if I go here, I have to reboot it one more time because every time it reboots, the firmware restart, the first time it glitches. So the Eddy coil, the I2C version doesn't appear to have thermal compensation. I'm going to ask that to verify, but it looks like there's a missing sensor in it. It doesn't have that second, it has like an MCU sensor, but it doesn't have the other sensor. Can you daisy chain CAN directly off the pins of the CAN connector on the EBB board? I don't know. I would think so, because CAN can be daisy chain. Can be daisy chains. CAN can daisy chain, but I don't know definitively. I haven't ran it, so I don't know for certain. It doesn't work on CAN. So the CAN version's not out yet. This is I'm using the USB version. There's an I2C version, and then there's a CAN version. Cool, Zombie says you can daisy chain it. So I know the CAN will let you daisy chain because that's a big perk of using CAN. I just don't know. I've never tried doing it. Hey, can you open your door? Jackson's getting tired, and I have a plate in my hand. Yes. Let's do a quick little let's do a Jackson showcase real quick here. Can Jackson come say hi? Yeah. Do you want me to come grab him? Okay. We'll do a quick Jackson show, and then we'll check the first layer again, and then we'll open up the giveaway. Hey, buddy. Eee. Are you wanting to be on camera or no?
Him? Yeah.
You?
Me? No.
Okay. Want to do that then?
Well, yeah, I'm gonna just step in.
Okay.
Okay.
No, you can see till right here. Just put it on the printer, yeah? Come grab it. Okay. Can you say hi? That's a microphone, buddy. That's a microphone. Can you say hello? You got, what is that? It's a truck? Mm-hmm. He looks tired. Look at, he's got his little worker stool. Huh, bud? Ah. Well, soon you'll build a printer, won't you? He's like, wow, there's a lot of stuff going on here. Getting so big, they grow up too fast. Air is on up here. Oh, it's not up here. Yeah, if you don't mind turning it on, it is getting hot. All this printer. You need to get him his own LDO apron. I know, I didn't even get myself.
So cute.
I didn't even get myself an LDO apron. He really likes this zombie shirt. When I put it on earlier, he was pointing at the zombie, and I was thinking like, zombie, you need to offer your merch in baby sizes, dude.
So cute.
Yeah, that'd be cute. Huh, buddy. You ready to go night night, huh, dude? Hmm? You ready to go night night, huh, dude? He doesn't usually get to come up here because there's just stuff everywhere. I'll pass him back. Yeah, he's starting to let go of stuff now and stand. He's still not walking. Yeah, still not walking, but he's starting to hold stuff. Thank you for the sandwich. I want to start a giveaway.
I want to see everyone probably them.
On Jackson? Oh, on my sandwich? Build a printer with him. Oh gosh. He still puts everything in his mouth, so. Because I haven't used PCB Toolhead. Just got an ad. Yeah, there is ads. I think some places they'll play every half an hour. It just depends on where you're located, it seems like. Okay, so I'm going to get the giveaway opened. Send. It's nice, right? It feels good up here with the AC on. Phil, thank you for 9 months. I2C version has no temp comp and compatible with EBB 3642, but not yet. Okay, so that's what I thought. Boards. CAN has a temp comp and it will need to mod. And we'll need to mod EBB cell printer board. Okay, so I wonder if that means that they're going to release. I have a feeling that means they're going to release a new version of it, probably, right? That's going to have a plug for it. Must build a Voron Sub-Zero. Is the Voron Sub-Zero the one that Nemgria, who's the creator of Voron Zero, was at Rocky Mountain Rep Festival and had a mini V0 that only had the build size to be able to print a Voron test cube. I mean, it was the whole build plate was like that big. It was insane. I love you too. Thank you for the food. Have a good nap, buddy. Have a good nap, bud. We'll go for a walk later. Fabrico, LDO apron fun for Jack. Thank you for the $10. I gotta reach out to Jason. I wonder if they have any more. I hope you have no lime juice, just plain melons. I will say that these are delicious. I've been having these. These are tahine gummy bears, so you get a little spice and a little sweet. A big fan. One of my buddies had them and let me try it, and it was a mistake, and now Aaron's been getting them for me. So I didn't post the giveaway link, did I? No, I didn't. I went as far as creating it and then got totally distracted. Paste. There we go. Okay, that was called Sub-Zero. Yeah, he showed me that he didn't put the heated bed on it, and it was like a tiny little round thermal pad. Pin message. Get ready to do a lot of chasing once the little guy starts walking. Yeah, he's already pretty fast on all fours. Like it's a little freaky fast on all fours. And we have this little cart thing for him that basically he stands inside of, but it supports him and has wheels on all sides. And if I'm chasing him around, like he books it down the hole on it. So I can only imagine it's gonna be worse. With your discussion about Eddy and Beacon, is there a reason you wouldn't run tap on the Enderwire? So tap is not compatible with the Enderwire or the switch wire for one reason. It has a certain amount of force that's required since it's pressing into the bed. And if you look at this bed, and I go right here, see the flex? I mean, everything will flex, right? I mean, to an extent with enough force, but it's enough flex that when you go down and probe, it's going to affect the accuracy of your reading. So it's the reason why they don't recommend it, or it's not like officially approved. I know some people that are running tap on a modified switch wire. For a while now, I've been wanting to potentially get like PCBWay to mill out a bed plate that would allow me to have a linear rail like 1/3 in and 1/3 in, because I believe that with the added rails, except like, so instead of just having one in the center, this one has two, so this is more rigid than the switch wire. Switch wire definitely has more wiggle because of the single rail, but having them spread out, I think that would be enough that you could get away with something like tap on it. But natively, without some heavy modifications, it's just not compatible because of that. Emmer, thank you for the 229. Cheers. I'm putting a Mix 6 bed on my K1. Hopefully I get better first layers. Yeah, you should. Did you go with the robotics one, the company that makes them? I can't think what they're called. Drop the GitHub link for it in live streams. Wait, what GitHub link, Delmar? Oh, Doron Velta? What? Okay, so I restarted this. Let's do the same print, just the first layer, and see if it saved it. So if I go under here, let's see, let me show you guys this really quick. So if I go under here and I go down below, originally it was at 1.9 before I did the first offset. So it should be at 2. Yeah, so 2.055 is exactly right. It's another it's another 0.155 that I added onto it. And we know we've restarted it now. We know we've restarted it twice. So it should be, it's pulling that. So let's run this. I don't think it's gonna work because last night I thought I had it corrected. So let's just print the exact same print and see how it looks. I got another hat. Had to get another hat. Wait, you got a shirt and a hat? I didn't see the notification. I'll look right now. Matthew, thank you very much for the gift of membership. I didn't see that. One second here. Let's go really quick side view. Thank you, Shammy. Yeah, I rolled up to the hotel and Shammy was wearing his Modbot hat. He said it's his hunting hat. Yeah, I guess I don't get the notifications. Sorry. Let me see if I can pop it up again. There we go. Yeah, thank you very much. Can I refresh the... There we go. I didn't see it. I didn't hear it. Thank you for the support. I hope you like the... Did you go with the same one, the camo one, or did you go with the solid color? I haven't seen Doran Belta. No, I haven't. I haven't seen it. You said it's in live stream channel. What? This looks freaking sweet. So we've got looks like Trident style skirts, fully enclosed. This thing is awesome. No, this is the first time I'm seeing this. I think I remember Double T talking about this, but I didn't realize that it actually had a build. I thought it was just a render. Yeah, beacon contact has to require very little pressure because it is, I mean, they probed an egg. You saw it at the show. I didn't see it. It was at the show. I didn't see it. Oh, gosh. I have such, like, tunnel vision with things. The only things I remember seeing at the Voron booth, like, Steve showed me the printers he built or brought. I saw the two, oh, gosh, Phoenixes. I saw the Cascade. I saw the little V0 that Nimgria brought. I don't remember seeing a Delta. I saw the Beacon Tap update this week. I am looking forward to it. Yeah, you and me both. Hello, I was wondering how BigTreeTech had figured out how to make a probe based on Beacon, but half the size. I don't know. I don't know. That's a great question. I mean, I know that they're using different components, so maybe it's a matter of some of the components that are being used. Like, Beacon has a completely different, well, a lot of it's different because it's able to be used at such a higher temp. It also isn't using an ADXL, it's using some other kind of accelerometer, so there's quite a few different, so I don't know. Yeah, as far as packaging goes, I really don't know the answer to that. Yeah, it's ignoring the Z offset. So on reboot, although the Z offset is still there in the config file, it's ignoring it. And I think it has to do with that thermal compensation, that it's just grabbing it from a range versus, yeah, there's gaps between each line now, so very weird. Send me a photo when you get the hat. I don't think I've seen the solid blue one. Does anybody have the Rat Rig V4 release and price? I think that they were saying at the show their goal is $1,500 or less. Don't quote me on it. I hope that's public info. I think they said that was their goal. And then release date, I don't know. I don't exactly know. Yeah, I got to talk with you about Libra for a bit. It was covered by a t-shirt. Oh. Why does it hold for ages? I think it's because I haven't run PID tuning. That's a great question. But I think it has nothing to do with the it has nothing to do with the Eddy probe. I think it has to do with I need a PID tune this thing. You do. I'm not doing the enclosure because I don't want to have to take it off when I switch this over to CAN bus or USB toolhead. I've got some weird stuff going on still with the electronics. I think it's something to do now with the actual wiring harness. So I'm swapping over to CAN bus or USB, probably CAN bus, because if we're going to be doing the ERCF one here at some point, which we'll be using CAN for the board, we probably need to do CAN. But yeah, I don't want to enclose it and put all the adhesive on it if I'm just going to be taking it apart to do that toolhead board. The prototype beacon is not new. They were just the first to use it at a printer. I think they made it special. I think what made it special is in the firmware. PID and PA, yeah. It definitely needs that. Piezo probes are around since 2015. Yeah, so it's way too far away on this mesh. It basically just resets to the initial It basically just resets the initial mesh. So I wonder if we just do this. Let's try something else. So instead of running through, oh man, I got jelly from my peanut butter jelly on my hand and then touched my mouse. Also, if you haven't signed up, giveaway link is open in chat. We're giving away a spool of Polymaker filament, and that will be, we'll do the drawing in 20 minutes. I got to use some IPA to clean my mouse. Got a strawberry jam. Okay, so let's do this. I was gone earlier. Make sure you check your DM on Discord after the stream. Okay, I will do. I built the enclosure for mine. I hate VHB. Oh, you know, what do you not like about VHB? I love VHB. After building like the borons, I use it for everything now. Someone mentioned you might need to load your Z offset like bed mesh. I've never heard of having to load a Z offset. Has anyone called the Z offset in the start? What is the command for that? If that's the case, I'll definitely try that right now because this is the first time I've ever heard of that. And I don't think I've ever done that previously. XY offsets, clear mesh state, clipper, calling Z offset in start macro. Z offset is Z offset. That makes sense to me. I've not ever heard, I never hear of that. Yeah, this is the first time I've ever heard of that. The one thing that could be interesting is, let me see what the naming convention is on it. No, so it's still, yeah, so it's under Z offset. There's nothing funky as far as the naming goes. So the thing is though, I feel like if you set your Z offset like that, something tells me that that's going to counter out the this, like their thermal compensation, right? Like if you do that, it's going to ignore whatever this is. What I do want to try though is this. I want to delete this. So let's go and just delete this, which is all of the code that was created like manually or automatically created. And then let's really quickly go and instead of doing the entire grid mesh or whatever, we'll just do one. We'll heat the bed to 60 Celsius. We'll heat the hot end to 220, and I'll do one Z offset at those temps and see if I set that correctly and it doesn't do its whole computation stuff, if that's at least consistent at that one temperature. So let's go, let me see, where is there? Okay, place Eddy approximately 20 millimeters above the bed. So let's turn off motors, dashboard, stop, clear. Hey, Big Jano, how's it going? I was just saying that I didn't get to see that, like as many maker tables as I wanted to see, but I was glad I got to see yours. Your clipper version across the MCUs aren't the same. Where did you see that? On your machine? Huh. Wait, why is it scanning? Oh, I printed again. Oops. I guess it's because it's not probing at full temp. It's probing at 190, I think. And then it needs a PID too, and that's why we're overshooting like crazy. So that's on me. That's not on Eddy. I think it should just be minor builds. I think they're all, let me see if I go here. Yeah, they're all on V0.1.2.0. So it's just minor differences between them. Oh, you can't see that. Or maybe you can. I'm kind of blocking it. All right, as soon as it starts printing, I'll stop it. Hey, Muzin. Okay, so let's cancel print. Oh, I hit reprint, not clear. All right, there we go. That's what I wanted to do, is turn off that. So all I'm gonna do is roughly get this at 20 millimeters. So we'll just definitely center in the bed. And then I'll grab, I'm just gonna grab my metric ruler. Where's the smaller one? There it is. Okay. It's roughly 20 mil. It's hard to get an exact down there. It'd be nice if I just had a 20 millimeter cube I could drop it on. That's what I'll probably end up printing out, but this is, I think I'm within range. So we're going to run a command. Where are we? There we go. Here we go. You guys can't see that, so let me go down here so that way you can hopefully see this. Okay, so this is the initial drive current calibration. Okay, so we've got our baseline, drive current 15. Now we're gonna save config. Can you make a video to connect the BigTreeTech EBB CAN bus board with BigTreeTech Octopus Direct Connect? You mean using like CAN bridge? I don't know that I can do that specific config, but I can. It's been on my agenda for a while to do a CAN bridge video because I've only done CAN bus using U2C board. Hey Muzin, I DM'd you on Discord. Okay, sorry, I brought my laptop to Rocky Mountain Rep Fest with the intent of catching up on things and getting my messages caught up, and I didn't get a chance to even open it the whole weekend, so I am way behind across every platform. So anyone that's waiting on a message, I apologize. I will try to get through it. Oh, 2020 extrusion is also a good idea. Okay, so we did that. Next, let me see, is it an error state? Yeah, it is. I have to reboot because of my funkiness. There we go. Okay, so G28XY, we will home. Okay. Next, we are going to move to the center of our bed. We'll grab the command for that as well. Desktop. So the only things I need to do is change this because this is for a 300 by 300 millimeter printer, and I think we're what, X is 220, I believe, so we'll be 110, and then Y is 225. I think that's right. That should be close enough to center. We'll do 112.5. Yeah, it should be fine. Okay, so that's going to jog us to the center of the bed. Hey RH3D, 10 more minutes on the giveaway. If you have not signed up, it's pinned in chat, and we'll give away a Spill Polymaker filament. Also, if you haven't smacked the like button, let's see if we can get to 150 likes. Pretty please. Okay. So now it's going to have us set the manual Z offset, and this is without any thermal compensation. This is just a initial one. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to match everything. So let's go extruder 220, which is what I was printing at, and heating bed will go to, maybe not 220, let's go 190, so that way the filament's not oozing out of our nozzle. And then we'll go heated bed 60, and we'll just take one Z offset with this value since I cleared out all of the thermal compensation stuff and see if this will at least work. I did not post near as much as I wanted to and did not get really any pictures. I feel like you got the most pictures, Dan. I was all weekend long was like, oh, Dan's posting photos. So bed's still climbing. I'll let it sit for just like a minute. Once it hits temp, and then I'll do a Z offset. In practice, you'll need to call a different offset for ABS versus PL. Yeah. No, absolutely. I'm only, excuse me, sorry if you can hear me eating. I'm only doing this because when I tried to use the thermal compensation commands that they have in here, it doesn't, like I'm running into issues with it. So I'm trying to see if I don't do this whole step and I just do one, if that will be consistent for like a PLA profile. Because if it's not, then I feel like there's potentially something else going on. But yeah, no, I think that for anyone that's getting this thermal compensation, this manual thing, as long as it actually works like it's supposed to, is a must, unless you're just printing with one material. But yeah, if I'm printing at, 100, 110C and 255 or 260 or something like that and doing some ABS printing, I wouldn't expect this Z offset value to work. I just want to see if I can even get consistency across this one filament. It's basically just me trying to eliminate potential variables from it, because I know that this hasn't been working by using this for me so far. So I want to see if I guess I'm ranting a little bit. So is this the sensor without? No, it does have temperature compensation. If I go to, you can see it here. So they all have the BigTreeTech Eddy MCU, it looks like, but this one has the BigTreeTech Eddy, which is specific to the non-coil version. So, okay, now that we've had it sitting here for a bit, we'll go over here. Where's the thing? Here we go. And we'll just do the 1Z probe. So paste this command under console, which should open up a pop-up. Cool. After you use it for a while, I'm curious to know how it stacks up to Beacon. Well, Beacon was a lot easier to set up, I'll tell you that. I mean, I basically mounted it and hit go. There's no, so yeah, we'll see. I feel like I've already sort of, in my head, come to a conclusion of what this is going to be like. And as long as, sorry, this is, making sure it's not super important. As long as the offset and the temperature calibration ends up working, I feel like I know how I'm going to feel about this already, but we'll see. I've got a bunch of questions for BigTreeTech. So let's drop down. Side view. If you print the same settings as you calibrate and Z offset, you need temperature. No. If you print the same settings as you calibrate and Z offset, you need temperature compensation. You should not. It should be consistent. I mean, there could still be some variation, I suppose, over time, but like things can warp and all that. But generally speaking, on a print-to-print basis, if you're printing and you found your Z offset for ABS, that should be at least fairly consistent. So far, is the Eddy worth it? As long as the Z offset can saves itself, then I would say yes. If the Z offset doesn't save itself, then that's I would not want to have to adjust baby step every single print. I would say no in that case. But scanning seems to work well, which is the key thing. Getting the Z offset figured out is kind of going to be the final straw. So this has got plenty of drag on it. I almost want to purposely make it a little bit closer. Like that is a little bit closer than I would normally have it, but I think we run it like that just to see. So I'm going to hit accept. Okay, now it's going to do some probing at that spot. That makes the Eddy coil more worthwhile as I only print ABS and bed mesh and Z offset at those temp settings. Yeah, you should be much better off like that. You should be much better off like that. I still think thermal compensation is nice to have because I've seen discussions about even like for people that preheat at high temps, the extrusions and things like that, expanding and contracting a bit. But I don't know how much of a, it's probing right now. I don't know if you can see it, but it's just bouncing up and down, taking a bunch of samples. I don't know how much that really is as far as the deviation. I don't know if it's, you know, a fraction of a millimeter or not. So Beacon has had to go to Rev H using buyers as beta testers. At least BigTreeTech usually gets it right by version 2. I may be biased. Well, we Daniels have to stick together. Okay, so now you can see probe. It says it did 4,000 queries. Standard deviation equals 145.209, which I don't know what that means because that it's not 145 millimeters. Do you know what that value represents, Phil? Okay, so we'll run the save config command now, which will restart everything. Just ordered an Eddy coil for, yeah, at the price point, it's like, I mean, don't get me wrong, if it doesn't work, it's not worth 14 euros by any means, but if it just is a matter of getting some things tweaked and calibrated at the beginning, then it's like, it is a very low price point for potentially a pretty nice, you know, probe setup. So we did the first reset, which means I need to reset it one more time because I've got the weird things going on. And then let's take a look at the printer config. I want to see if the footer that it generated looks different. Which one did you go with? Nice. Did you go with you went with the I2C version then? Gonna try one of the BigTreeTech Eddy Current sensors soon. Allegedly a drop-in replacement for Omron. Yeah, that's what we're running here. We swapped out the Omron for it. Okay, so let's scroll to the bottom. Interesting. So the thing that I find very weird is the Z offset value is identical to what I had previously deleted. Calibration temp says 54. Which is right, that's what we're at. So I did calibrate, but I don't understand why Z offset would be the same. So the thing I'm wondering is if this doesn't really mean much, because this is where it's been adjusting. It doesn't seem to affect anything. So this seems to be primarily like in the samples it's taking where it's doing its math at. I don't know. I don't know, it's weird. So let's fire up a print again. Let's go, no, we don't need to restart again. Let's do the same exact print. Oh, I'm in the... I didn't realize I've been switching back and forth. Let's just exit out of here. Let me make sure this shows right. Yeah, that seems right. Okay, so once I see whether this is working or not, we'll do the giveaway. So kind of last call for signing up for the giveaway. It's pinned in chat, and then we're gonna do we'll do the drawing for the spool of Polymaker filament. No chamber temps. Wait, what do you mean, zombie? Are you planning to enclose the printer? Yeah, that is long-term the plan. It should have been enclosed by now if things had gone according to plan. I have all of the parts for the enclosure. That's a zoomed in shot you can't see, but yeah, I have all the parts printed out for it. So the switch wire that I have is not enclosed. That's interesting. It's probing. The reason why it's taking so long to heat up, GPs, is that it's not probing. So it's probing at bed, reaching max temp, but hot end is not up to temp. Which I feel like I should be heating up the hot end of temp too in this case. I can adjust that in my starting G code, but that's why it's stalling after. I'm guessing expansion is minimal in open air. Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I don't think expansion is much of a factor at all. I meant when I've heard of people talking about that, it's we're always fully enclosed doing like ABS or PC ABS or something like that. So no, I don't think. I think it would be super minute in an open form factor printer. Did you replace the heater pad under it for using stock bed? No, so this is an Ender 3 converted to a switch wire, so an Ender wire. So it doesn't have the embedded magnet bed. First layer is looking better. First layer is looking better. This is definitely closer. So it seems that the Z offset has no effect on it. Like the Z offset that you save into the bottom footer, it doesn't seem to actually affect things. Like it does in mainsail, but once you reset it and it saves it, it doesn't take it into account. I don't understand why yet. But there's no gap here at all. So that kind of answers that for me. Let me just show you there was tons of gaps before. This is what I would expect. So interesting. Well, that should mean as long as I'm running PLA on this thing with an open form frame like this, that the values currently set are fine. But ideally, the point is to get, I'm a little bit too close, but the point is to, I guess I said the same thing 3 times, the thermal compensation working. That's the goal, ultimately. This was more of like a test of eliminating factors. And yeah, now I see the nozzles substantially closer. So it seems like the main issue I ran into was when I was doing my thermal, the testing stuff. So it's a relative thing, the offset versus the probe mesh. Gotcha. I think I had to do the same thing with cartographer, whereas the offset was ignored. This could use my nozzle scrub. You have a nozzle scrub for this one? Isn't that not interference much? Wait, what did I miss? Isn't that to not interfere much with the probing? You mean the temperature being? I think that usually you want temperature to not be high if you're using a nozzle probe. Like if you're using tap, I mean, you want it to be soft, but not so soft that it's scooping out a bunch of filament. But in this case, because it's floating above it, it shouldn't be an issue. Yeah, tap and beacon are both great. Tap limits your max accels because it does introduce some play in your toolhead or your gantry, but if you're not going for speedboat benchies, you can still achieve really fast speed, or I mean, what I consider really fast speeds. It's a reliable setup. And beacon's also awesome. I've been running that on the VZ bot since build, and granted the VZ bot has some other artifact stuff going on, but it's not, there's no relation to beacon. It's some kind of belt pulley motor frequency thing. My nozzle scrub and purge bucket on the printables is for the X1, but I think it would fit this too. Oh, neat. That's awesome. Hey, Big Red. Okay, we are doing the giveaway. Tap with a proper mount seems ideal. Yeah. You still use your VZ regularly? Not regularly lately. It's in the garage, unfortunately, because of the weight of it. It just, bringing it up the stairs when we moved in here, I was like, ah. And I've been just trying to play catch up on things, but it's up on top of a work surface where I plan on playing around with it. So yeah, first layer is looking beautiful again on this. I'm tempted to restart this. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna stop this really quick. I'm gonna restart the printer. Then we're gonna do the drawing. And while I'll hit print, and then we'll restart. I just want to make sure that on another reboot, this stays like this. If it stays like this, then it totally confirms my speculation that it's something to do with the thermal compensation stuff that I was doing. Either I didn't do it correctly, or it screwed up. I had mentioned that it had thrown an error. I had mentioned that it had thrown an error because, one second. Because the Z offset difference between the temperatures wasn't big enough. Okay, so yeah, that first layer was great. So now I'm going to hit reboot. Hit reboot again. No, that VZBot is staying with me till the end. Okay, so I'm just gonna fire up print again, and now I'm removing the link, unpinned message, remove. So anyone that's filling out the form, the link is now gone. So fill it out quick. No, I love the VZBot. I'm sad about the art of, I still don't understand what the heck's going on. But for strong functional parts, it's a monster. It just shows sort of like weird ghosting in a sense. Oh, did you order one, Muzin? I bought, both me and Steve bought all the stuff to water cool it, so maybe we'll have a revisit in the future. Okay, so I'm gonna leave the camera on this, and I'm going to now pull all of the entries. Where are all the entries? Where are they? There. Okay, 135 people. Download. Extract. All right. Okay, re-uploading the form. Replace existing file. Okay, this should be everybody. I've got 135 people, and I think that's how many I said were, yep, that's everybody. Also, did we hit 150 likes? No, 133. If you haven't, smack the like button. We're trying to get to 150 before we do the drawing in 60 seconds. First layer looks good. Yeah, it looks close. So it's, well, that makes me feel a lot better, because it was kind of driving me absolutely bonkers. There's a little coming off here, but yeah, ignoring my Z offset was driving me a little bit insane, but it's closer now. So it did work from when I initially set it. So we'll let it run. Oh, we hit 150. Yes, you guys are awesome. Okay, let's do the drawing. Let's go here. Alrighty, it is that time. So for anybody that hasn't been in one of our giveaways, it is for a spool Polymaker filament. Well, no, that's actually not true. It is, excuse me, it is for a Polymaker gift card, and then you can use that to purchase a spool of filament, and it covers pretty much all like standard filaments. But if you want something like a carbon or a PC or something like that, you can also use it, I believe, as a discount off of the total cost, which is pretty sweet. So you get a lot of choices, tons of choices. So as always, massive thank you to Polymaker for letting us do this. It was an absolute treat. I got to meet Nick in person at Polymaker, who is as tall as they say. I didn't get as much chance to talk with him as I would have liked, but the Polymaker booth was super busy, and they had like a Nerf, like a blaster contest thing going on there for filament. So it was busy, but I got to wave to him a few times and give a hug. I also got to meet Sean, or the 3D Print General, which we have talked online for like at least 4 or 5 years. So it's cool to give him a hug and say hello. So anyways, I will contact the winner via email, and you'll just basically input your info and Polymaker will get over the gift card to you. So yeah, how many times are we shuffling? Let's do, our range today will be between, what's our range today? Let's do between, let's go a little bigger. 14 and 33 is our range. It isn't ignoring the offset of the probe comparison, is modifying the end result. The better the temp match, the better the result. It isn't ignoring the offset. The probe compensating is modifying the end result. Gotcha. So it takes that value as a baseline, but based off of the temperature compensation, it's basically chopping that up. So it's only taking a small amount of that offset and sort of stretching it across the range, it seems like. But it seems like, I mean, I was able to adjust a full millimeter off of it from like 1.9 down to 1, and I still didn't see any visual difference. So it's interesting. I need a little more, I think, explanation on that. I also need to run through the, I'm gonna try going through the whole calibration process one more time with the wider step and see if that has any effect on it. Okay, so numbers, we have a lot of numbers. I see 16 twice, 6, 20, 26. I see 6, I'm gonna do 16. I see a lot of, 17 a lot too. We'll do 16, I see a lot of 16s, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Alrighty, everybody. Good luck in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Merson. Merson, you are our winner. Congratulations, I think that's the first time winner. I'm pretty sure, unless you won before. There's been a lot of giveaways, but I think your first time. So congratulations, and I will send you an email this evening, and it'll basically just contain a form that you'll need to fill out. So congratulations, and thank you everybody else for entering, and we will do another one of these same time, same place next week. So cheers. All right, let's run this. Let's just see. Yeah, it's looking beautiful. It's looking great. Same as just the edges. Like the edges are the only thing on here. GG. Oh man, I haven't. It reminds me of Counter-Strike. Every single game, entering good luck, have fun, and then GG at the end of the game. Yeah, good luck, have fun. Usually the other team reply with a STFU, and I'm sitting there sad. I was usually pretty nice playing Counter-Strike. Like, I trolled a bit, don't get me wrong, but I was usually pretty nice. Which usually frustrated people even more. You're using the new orca slicer that tweaks the flow for small movements. I don't know if I am on here. What version am I running? This is version 2.0. So yeah, I would say so. Unless it was after 2.0, but I'm at least running the last major release, I believe. GG, get good? No, it's good game. Same with the blended seams. Yeah, so that's in here. I'm not running the blended seams as a default yet. Who wants to beat? That's the latest. Hey, there he is, Merson. Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations. Did you say GG in Counter-Strike? I only shouted in Russian. Yeah, I played a lot. I was arguably one of the most games. I don't know on console, like back on Xbox 360, I played a ton of like MW2 and COD 4, but when I was 22? No, it was after I was dating Erin, so 23. When I was like 23 or 24, I moved in with my best buddy. I rented a room out of his house, and we Counter-Striked hard. I think my Steam account has like 2,300 hours or something like that. It basically was like go to work, do school, and then Counter-Strike, and then maybe sleep for an hour or two. But yeah, I don't play very much anymore. My portion control is not great, so like when I get into a game, I have zero chill. I was playing Valorant a little bit by myself when it came out, but yeah, now I bought a PlayStation last year, and so I'd like to do some just sort of like story campaign stuff on the couch. But yeah, for like any sort of competitive game, you can't casually play. You're gonna get destroyed, and then That's not fun. CS2 is just not the same. I haven't even tried it. I haven't played it. It's been ages since I played CS2. I played somewhat. Yeah, I played a ton. We had a full group. My brother was a beast at it. I wasn't great. I had like my occasional moments where I was on, but usually it was just like such a spaz. Like I play video games like I live my life, and it's very squirrely, very squirrely. Like, so, it, you know, I have 9,000 hours and spent 65,000 on CS. Ooh, ooh, the skins, it's gotta be the skins, man. Yeah, I remember I gave my brother, I think it was like a Doppler gut knife or something like that, and he went on a coin flip site and flipped it up to a Dragon Lore battle scarred, and then I think he cashed out. I was like, dude, that was all of your luck for your life now. Games are sweaty nowadays. Also, my reactions isn't what it was back. Dude, my reactions, yeah, so I played whatever the latest COD was. I picked it up on when it launched in November when I got the PlayStation, and I played a little bit, and I did okay. But yeah, my reaction time is also not nearly as good as it was when I was 13 or 14. Plus, like, gear's gotten so different. Like, everyone was playing on a potato back in the day. Well, now, like, there's all this highly specialized stuff. So if you're not on a super, you know, low refresh rate, with, like, optimal gear, like, it's just, you get smoked. Every time it gets tight, it pulls out a quarter of the roll. Every time it gets tight, it pulls out a quarter of the roll. Yeah, on this. I had a Sapphire collection and sold it for 10K back in 2019. Oh no! But who knew, right? Because I remember when CS was really cracking down on all the gambling websites and skins as a whole, and it really strangled the whole skin economy. And then it seems like everything has sort of worked its way out again. I remember it was like OP Skins was like the big website for sort of on-ramping and off-ramping skins to currency. Speeds, these are defaults. So in the slicer side of things, it's first layer, so it's 50 millimeters a second. We are not going fast. First layer infill is 105 millimeters a second. So I guess that's what we're running, because this is the first layer infill. That doesn't seem right. Yeah, we're not going very fast. It's just defaults. I don't think I haven't ran input shaping. This printer needs the toolhead figured out, and then it needs all the calibrations, and then it'll be ready to shine. I have VacBan account with thousands of cases. No. Yeah, there was a bunch of the cases that you got for free from like the early tournaments that are now worth a ton because they have like Dragon Lores and stuff like that in it. Single player games for life. that was me before. It wasn't until high school when I got into multiplayer games and like it ruined gaming for me, because before it was all like yeah, I don't know. I used to love just single player story games. I can see myself in old people's home rocking the latest gear, giving callouts. Yeah, that was fun about CS though. Like the amount of practice to like learn if you threw a smoke exactly at this angle, bounce it off the roof, you could smoke like a certain bomb site. I really enjoyed there was so much technical stuff regarding it, like spray patterns, and it was a ton of fun. So yeah, and callouts. Skins are better investment than anything else. Indigo. Nice. Have a great night, man. Thanks for hanging out. Have a good stream, everyone. See you next week. Next week will be fun. Next week we're starting the positron. I had a knife. I'm running 5 cubic millimeters a second for TPU on a 0.6 nozzle. Do you print anything more as it's very slow? So it depends on the shore hardness. 95A TPU on a constrained filament path with a solid hot end, and I mean I can print fast. Like I can print real fast with it. Probably I have to check when I pushed it, but like I don't want to say same exact as PLA speeds, but I don't want to throw out a number because I don't want to BS. I don't, but I definitely on a 95A TPU, which is not, I mean, it's, I would still consider semi-rigid. I've been able to push really close to standard PLA speeds on, I know RatRig V Minion, the LGX Lite does a great job with it. I was printing really quickly on both the X1 Carbon as well as the A1 printer. I don't know that I've done a lot of TPU on Stealth Burner. I really don't think I have. LGX Lite does a fantastic, or LGX in general does a fantastic job with TPU at quick speeds. Now I want pumpkin bread. I'm having a PB&J. There's no pumpkin bread here. I run my stock Ender 3 S1 Pro with Cura at 150 millimeters a second. Is that with what's your acceleration at though? Because I think stock Ender 3 Excels are like typically, I mean, they were 500 millimeters a second. They were really slow. Nowadays, I love survival games. Currently addicted to Ark and Palworld. Oh. I almost bought Palworld. I have like, I think like $250 in Steam, in my Steam wallet that I've been like waiting to figure out what the heck I want to do with it. And I almost got Palworld. I have a Steam Deck and I was playing through Horizon Zero Dawn finally, and then I scrolled away into something else. It's 95 AM mosquito hot and oh yeah, you can go way faster than that. What positron? It's the positron Journey Maker. So I'm gonna say partially kit, mostly self-sourced. So the positron Journey Maker, I'll show it really quick since there's only so much fun you can watch in a first layer. So positron Journey Maker. Let's see, desktop. So here is the Voxelite's like the website or persons that's behind it, and so they sell partial kits. They also sell stuff for the Positron V3, but they provided the CNC parts kit and the belt. So I purchased from them the rails. I purchased a heated bed. I went with a different heated bed. It's like the edge one. And I think did they provide? No, did I purchase? I think I purchased that as well. And then everything else was self-sourced. So they have, if you go over here, they have the instructions in BOM. And I just basically went through this and ordered everything. Pretty much, I think it was all AliExpress with a couple of items from Amazon. The thing that sucked was I ordered this after we moved in here, but my AliExpress, I forgot to update the address. It all went to our previous house where we were renting at. And we did not leave on good terms with the landlord. So that was an awkward conversation. But I think I spent, I think it was close to $400 in AliExpress orders. So I was not going to just be like, well, I'm eating this one. So I got it back. This looks exactly like the one that I had previously done where we baby stepped down. So it looks perfect. Back left corner is, corner is not, let's stop it. We don't need a second layer. But yeah, what did you say about your, 1 second here. Okay, you said 95A on a Mosquito hot end and an LGX Lite V2. Yeah, you can absolutely go faster than that and push more. I would say, you said you're doing 5 cubic millimeters a second. I would feel comfortable saying you could at least double that. I would start with doing 50% more, and then 50% more, like just to do small increments. But yeah, the LGX Lite is to me one of the best for TPUs up to a certain point. I tried it with a 60A and it completely gave up. It was like, there's no way I'm pushing this. But I think up to about 80 to 85A, it's fantastic. And certainly at 95A, you can boogie with that thing. With the Eddy, do you still need the diode in the wiring line? No. So I'm bypassing it. This is USB, so it's not connected to the Toolhead board. It's running straight up its own USB cable that's plugged into the Clipper host. Stealth Burner is not a great TPU. Toolhead, gotcha. Dragon Burner is a lot better. Just more constrained filament path. 50 Drake states 150 to 200 millimeters for fast TPU. I think they have high flow TPU now too, don't they? I've never used it, but Fabrico, I play prehistoric RPG. I play prehistoric RPG Maker games now. What is that? I don't know. RPG Maker games. The Journey Maker. Yeah, I'm very excited to build this. This squirrel is doing hula hoops. Really cool. Waiting to see that. It's going to be a ton of fun. It's right now eSun show on their highest TPU. You can print fast, but say to cap flow at 5 kilobits per second, which means you can't. I would definitely take a lot of. I always recommend using the manufacturer's recommendations as a baseline, but it's just that, a baseline. There's so much variation in hardware that for some 5 cubic millimeters a second would be the absolute most they can push, because it's old, and if you try pushing quicker than that, you'll run into issues. But generally speaking, I say use what the manufacturer provides as like I said, baseline, and then ramp up from there and find what your maximum is. When does reliability drift off? When does quality drift off? And find back off from that a little bit, and that's your safe spot. Yeah, so the past landlord, without getting into crazy detail, we never really had issues with them. We were pretty okay until the end, when we no longer, when they knew we were moving out, and like they were nice to us when we were just a consistent, check every single month and never asked for anything. I did some of the repairs myself, and then when we finally moved out and we did the final walkthrough, I was told that we would, based off what they saw, there would be nothing kept from our deposit, our security deposit. And like, full disclosure, our security deposit was nuts. It was $3,200, which is a ton of money. But we moved from out of the state when we moved out here. We didn't have a whole lot of options, and we had dogs, and so that tacked on a huge amount of the deposit. And so I was under the impression, based off what I was told, that we were getting basically the whole deposit back and we'd have it within a week. Well, it took 5 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. And when the final message I got was that they had found all sorts of stuff, and that they were trying to figure out a way to where they wouldn't have to come after me for additional money on top of that money. And then they said that if I didn't like it, I could take it up with their legal. So that was sort of the final blade where I felt like I'd gotten stabbed in the back. Yeah, so it all worked out. They ended up giving us back way more than they made it seem, but it was very awkward. Like, it was sort of one of those things where I just wanted to cut that and never communicate again. So having to be like, hey, it was not fun to go crawling back to get my stuff, but it was $400 in printer components. It wasn't like I ordered I don't know, something small. How hard was it to install Eddy? Physically, piece of cake. Physically installing Eddy is the exact same. They've got a little, let me kill this print real quick so it starts cooling down and we can peel it a little easier. Physically installing it was an absolute piece of cake. It is the same exact footprint. You've got the dimensions right here, but same mounting holes as the Omron that is used for all Stealth Burner, Afterburner, and probably, I'm sure, some other toolheads out there. And so you're just removing and bolting in the same place. So piece of cake. The main things are routing your USB cable. I wouldn't run, some people will, I'm sure, but this doesn't feel like a cable I really want in cable chains. I would be concerned with eating through it. So figuring out your, wiring, how you're gonna run that, and then dialing in sort of the calibration. You do have to update Clipper. So I would highly recommend backing up your config in case anything funky happens, because it requires both updating Clipper host as well as reflashing your MCU. So, I don't think it's hard. The hardest part is probably going to be this thermal calibration stuff, but there's certainly a few things involved. I would recommend, I'll do a video at some point, but I would recommend reading through the guide here and seeing whether it feels like something that you'd even want to do. You better path and shorter. You haven't used TPU high flow, that stuff prints like PLA. I haven't. Does Polymaker make it, Zombie, or no? Standard landlord stuff, really. Yeah, we've never had to deal with it. We've never had to deal with it. Ender beds are, shit, I put a 1/4-inch chunk of regular glass on the bed and added the magnet and PEI sheets on top of it. Rock solid first layers. I wish Eddy was small enough for a V0. You could V0 it. I mean, it's this is the, you know, it's the same size. Oh, you can't see, but same size as the Omron probe. I had something similar where everything was sorted, and a month after moving out, they tried to charge me council tax, and the charges said they talked to my lawyer and never heard from them again. Yeah, it sucks. I don't get it. I just don't get it. I'm not, that's not me, and I don't understand, like, to me, what like, I believe that, you know, how you treat others, you know, like, it comes back to you in some way, shape, or form, so I don't understand, but not everyone thinks that way, I guess, or I don't know. I don't know what the justification really is. Put a sleeve around the cable and put it in the chain won't help. I don't think you're supposed to sleeve cables and cable chains. I've always heard that was a no-no. You basically want like PTFE or, God, there's another one. I think PTFE is the main one. Does anyone know what the other one is? I know silicone's an absolute no-no. Silicone is too sticky. It'll cut right into it. No, not FEP. That's, I can't think of the other one. Oh, it is FEP. Okay, so it's FEP or PT. Okay, so, okay. It was FEP then. For some reason, when I think of FEP, I think of the resin printer film, so it didn't sound right. Isn't there a version that connects the Toolhead board? There is. So there is the I2C version. The issue with the I2C version potentially is that it doesn't have any sort of thermal compensation. So they recommend having a separate Z-stop and just using it for scanning. I believe that as long as you're running one type of filament with, you know, very little, like if you got a printer and you tell me 99.9% of the time I'm running PLA, or I think GP said ABS and that's it, I would think that as long as your hardware is not changing, you soak things enough to where any sort of expansion that would be happening is accounted for when you first do your Z offset, that should be reliable and consistent. I haven't been able to test that, so I can't say without a shadow of a doubt, but that has been my understanding previously, is that it's fine for the same material. It's that if you're printing PLA, ABS, TPU, PTG, you know, all the different things, the difference in bed temp is going to cause, well, not just the bed, but difference in bed temp, difference in hot end temp, difference in extrusions, everything sort of flexing, expanding and contracting is going to be where you're going to run into issues unless you have some form of thermal accounting for that, like a thermal formula, words. Oh no, did I miss it? The giveaway? Yeah, we did do the giveaway. People charge when money gets involved. People, yeah, which sucks. I mean, yeah, it sucks. The thing that just sucked to me was like, if he had been honest and upfront and not been like, yeah, I'm not going to charge you anything and you'll have your money back in 5 days. If he had come up to me and said, hey, like after going through the house, we found a few more things. I'm going to get some quotes. Like my goal isn't to take, like, but it was sort of the managing expectations, right? Like you don't, like why say anything if you don't know that that's what you plan on doing? And then to backpedal so hard that you go from this nice, you're going to get your money back to like, it's weird. It's weird. Very like two-faced almost. I've also got 2 more G2 kits still in a box for future builds. Nice. Galileo 2s? I got a Galileo 2 that needs to go on something. Okay, let's take this off. Let's take this off. Then we might call it soon. It's been 3 hours, or that's not true. It's been 2.5, but I might rest for a little before Aaron goes to work, or maybe start working on some editing here. So from what I can tell, this looks identical to the one that we ran when I had baby stepped it. Oops. The main issues are we've got some over extrusion around the very edges, which is more pronounced towards the back here, really right here. Center, like, I mean, this is all pretty gorgeous looking, but let me see if I... Can I do it without tearing it? Oop. I don't know that I can. It's such a strong freaking first layer. This PEI sheet, let me see. I don't know how to show you guys. Oops, there, I tore it. It sticks so well. It's not coming off. Yeah, there's not much I can do about it. You definitely need to put the G2 in something. I honestly think it's the best extruder that I've tried. Interesting, that good, huh? I don't know if I want to put it in the stealth burner or if I want to do like a standalone. Well, here's the part that didn't tear. Hold on. I mean, it looks really good. The part that did tear, though, I want to be fair about this representation of what this is. So the part that did tear, you can see the over extrusion, right? If you look at the sides, there you go. That's the best angle that shows it. This corner right here, for whatever reasoning, I don't know if I just need to adjust maybe the scan to go a little further, or I really don't know what the deal is. But this corner seems like to have the most issue, and then the rest of it is just gorgeous. So. Interesting. Galileo 2, that good, huh? Okay. I don't know what I want to do with it. I don't know if I want it to go inside of a stealth burner like the V2.4, or if I want to throw it. They have the beta version, right, where it's a standalone Galileo 2. I think it uses the same internal hardware, and put that on something like a stealth changer, something, if I end up building one, which I'd like to. G2 is my go-to now, but it's both my 2.4 and my Trident. Huh. I'm sure I would love it. I mean, I know that it's using planetary gears. It's got some similarities to like the Orbiter 2, but I've heard there's been some pretty big improvements. I love the Orbiter 2, so yeah, we'll see. Zombie, you get me that frame, man. No, I don't know if there's anything I can do to help out with that, and I'm not in a rush because reality is I wouldn't probably be able to start building it for like 3-ish months, but I would love to build the Micron Plus with whatever extrusion variance is needed to be able to house the, I think you have 5 tools in yours, to house the 5 tools and not lose the 160 by 160 or 180 by 180 or whatever you've got. That drink position, where this one? This drink position worries you? All my kit printers run it now. When SVO8 comes in, I'm going to try to find a way to stuff Stealth Burner with G2E and tap on it. I'm curious to see what mods they're able to migrate over to the SVO8. I'll have a full video out on the SVO8, and I do think there's quite a bit of positive. The only thing that sort of bummed me out was before I received it, I don't think they actually gave me an image of it. They just told me all the details of it. I talked to them for a little while, probably a month or two about it leading up to when they actually shipped it. And for some reason, I was under the impression it was going to be closer to that of like a Trudon, and that it wasn't going to be such a, like to me, I can say the Trudon is a 2.4, but like a mass-produced injection molded. The SVO8, I can't say it's 2.4. It has a flying gantry. They clearly took inspiration in lots of places, like the motor, the AB motor mounts and stuff like that. But it's so different in so many ways that I was thinking it was going to be closer, and I was hoping there'd be a lot more mod compatibility. But because they're not using any sort of standard extrusions, a lot of the mods I don't think will be compatible. I think new mods will be made, and I think there will be ones that will be adapted, but natively a lot of stuff won't be compatible because the mounting points just aren't going to be the same. And because it is smooth extrusions, it's going to be interesting to figure out how that's worked around. Like, is it going to be a lot of mods that require you to drill into the frame and then tap a thread, or, you know, how is that going to work? So do I have to build a 100 plus version now? Yes. Yes, you do. No, you don't. But I would love to. I would love to. The Micron is adorable. Really like Zombie's Micron Plus Tool Changer. That's cool. It's freaking awesome. For the Enderwire, do you have to run new wires, or were the stock ones enough? Did you have to run new wires? So I have issues with the connection between my Toolhead and my E3EZ. There's funkiness with the XN stop. there was funkiness with the inductive probe, and there's weird stuff going on with the LEDs. So I don't know. I was under the impression that it was the main board, not the fan and LED board, but the main board on the side that was causing the issues. But they sent me another one. I swapped it out. It did not correct it. So is it possible that both are like that? Sure. Is it likely? I don't think so. So then it makes me wonder whether it is the wiring that was sent with this and that it was either mislabeled or there's a break or something. I really don't know. I have never had an issue with SIBOOR's wiring. Not entirely true. They sent me a 2.4 wiring harness for my Trident, but it all worked. So I've never had an issue or breaking like that with their like V0 or the Trident. So I'm not entirely sure it's that. For all I know, it could be something I did. I won't ever rule that out. It's possible that I did something wrong with plugging things into the board or configuring it, but I've spent enough hours probing with my multimeter on the Toolhead board and on the receiving end down by the main board to where I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know. And the plan all along was to go CAN bus on this. And so it's been enough time where I'm just like, I would rather remove it and only have 4 wires going between the boards. And as long as I've got 24 volts ground, high and low, or USB, USB signal, everything is all localized. And I like that localization. It's a lot easier to troubleshoot and figure out what's going on. And you're not defining, like keeping all the pins you're defining local. I just find that to be, the initial setup might require a bit more work, but once you've got it configured, I think it's a much cleaner configuration. So yeah. No more to run. Bought it full, knowing it wouldn't be an out of the box printer like Bamboo. Want to tinker with it a lot. Yeah, I think it'll be fun. I think a lot of people will enjoy it. I printed out. When I got it, I just started cranking out Gridfinity grids. There's a bunch. All of these ones. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 in here. So I was cranking these out, and then I ran into an issue, an extrusion issue. And I think I swapped hot ends and it corrected it. I don't know. But yeah, I think it's going to be a fun printer and there'll be a good community around it because of its price point and what it is. And I'm glad that it exists. It's very much so not a Voron and very much so not a 2.4. It's a budget, big, mass-produced flying gantry printer. That is what it is. So. Running a Manta M8P on my Ender 3 Pro? That is a lot of board for an Ender 3. Bad ground wire somewhere. It probably is a bad ground wire. I think so too, Phil. Because of the behavior, it seems like that's what it is. Yeah, I really think that probably is what it is. That would very likely mean, though, that there's a break in the wire, right? More than likely, or like a shoddy connection in the wire. Because it's my understanding that are they switching on ground for a lot of the things, because that would make sense also as to why some of the X was affecting the Z and some of the Z was affecting the X, and it's all sort of just wigging out together. You see Bamboo is cutting off updates after 3 years. I saw the discussion about it. I'm curious to see what they actually come out and say. And I wonder if that, yeah, I have a lot more questions than I do answers from that small post and sort of speculation around it. Is there a dragon burner for Enderwire, or can I just use one for the 2.4? I think there's a switchwire version of it. I'm almost positive. 1 second here. Wait, music stopped, didn't it? Let's put on some music really quick here. Let's go here. Okay, dragon burner definitive mounts. Let's see. 4 modifications, dragon burner toolhead. So where did I see? Here we go. Mounts available. Alternative Voron mounts. Extended modified mounts. So there's a bunch of mount options. Trident. So there we go. Voron switchwire.
So yeah, it should work. There's a Voron switchwire variant of it. Extended extruder mounts, CAD, modified mounts, legacy switchwire. Boom, here you go. I will copy this, let me see. Yeah, I'll paste this in, it's in the, oops, shit. It's in the live stream channel if you want to look at it. So that should be compatible. I mean, depends on the price. It is indeed a cool printer, even if you need to tinker with it. With 5160 drivers, wait, with 5160 drivers, or easy with 2209. I don't know. I don't know if there's more to that. So I was wondering if I needed to buy wiring or if I could stick with the pre-run ones on the Ender. You shouldn't have to buy wiring. I would say no. I wouldn't buy it. If it were me and I was purchasing it, I would use what it has. And if for some reason you have issues, contact them and their support should address it. So no, you shouldn't need any wiring whatsoever. You will need to reuse at least 1 or 2 limit switches. You'll need to reuse one of your stepper wires and motor, but that's really it. So I was wondering, oh no, I read that. It could be failing and as the move happens in the cable chain. Gotcha. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, Phil. I was chasing ghosts, like it worked, right? Like I built it and it worked, and then it didn't work, and I'm like, what the heck? I don't understand. And then it was sporadic, so I was thinking that maybe it had something to do with one of the traces on the PCB, because when I checked continuity, everything seemed to work. But like you said, if it's failing or it's a break, then it would be really tough to diagnose it. So yeah, I'm at the point now where I'm just like, I had always planned on swapping, just not this soon, so I'm just gonna do it. It's gonna be easier. Can you link in chat? I can do that. Yeah, here you go. Paste. Bam, there you go. I don't like how it markets as a next gen Voron, but my G14 is 300 million. After I built it, I wished it was 350. So staying on budget, flying gantry cords, so I decided. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that either. It's clearly, so it was clearly a marketing thing, right? Like Voron, the name Voron has a lot associated with it. It has the machines, it has the community, it has the, like, I mean, there's just a lot of positive things around it. And so it, like, as much as I don't think there was bad intentions per se, it was certainly a marketing thing. Like, there's no doubt about it. I mean, and I also, yeah, it was I don't know what else to say, really. I don't like that either, that it was sort of seemed that they were inferring that to an extent, but I don't think it's a bad printer, and it's really up to, you know, Voron team to decide like what they're okay and not okay with, and to sort of raise that up with them. Yeah, I don't know. I would not mind if there's an update for a printer as long as it can be taken off the internet. What is there to improve after yours? Yeah, so a lot of the things I saw on it was that basically, but I know quite a few people that run these completely locally, so we'll see what happens. I think he means if he if you self-source it. Is that what you're saying? If you self-source it, you think you need to get, well, yeah. If you self-source it, I don't know that you'll be able to, I don't know if anyone sells a wiring harness if you self-source it. If I was self-sourcing it, I would not do, if I was self-sourcing it, I'd go with like Nighthawk or CAN bus or something like that. They'll cost a bit more, but less wires. And if you don't want to do that, and you do want to go with standard breakout board type setup, yeah, you can do that, but I don't know that there's a wire harness available. So if there's not, you'll just want to get a bunch of PTFE or FEP wires, and you'll need to be comfortable with quite a bit of crimping. It's pretty much all, I think there's some microfit maybe, and then, yeah, microfit, and then JST, like standard JST stuff. But I would avoid that if possible, and try to find a solution. But yeah, if you buy the kit, then definitely don't need it. If you self-source it, you will have to create it. Yeah. I chased an issue on my 2.4 for months before I opened the chain and found a ground wire that looked kinked because the wire strands had failed, so it was limp. Oh God, that'd drive me crazy. Which printer is being marketed as next-gen Voron? No, I don't think it's being marketed as next-gen Voron. That's not right. The SV08 is being advertised as sort of like loosely like as a Voron, or like a Voron you don't have to build type thing. It's not. I don't know if they've come out and said those words exactly, but it's been very much like SV08 and Voron have been very much so like sandwiched together in marketing materials, I feel like, by design, because there's hype around it and that sells itself. You know, it's like, oh, I can get a Voron for $600, but it's not a Voron. It's a flying gantry mass-produced printer that's not nearly as rigid, not nearly as upgradable. I mean, there's a lot of positives. I'm using it and I don't think it's bad, and I think it will be an awesome printer for a lot of people, but I also don't like BS, for lack of a better word. Like, I don't like BS, like, just say it as it is. So yeah, there's a lot of companies that do marketing where I look at it and I'm like, oof, like, marketing team probably should have had a better discussion with engineering team or something like that. So maybe we should do something for the Voron team, since they admitted leaning on the Voron stuff when they developed X1C. Yeah, I don't know. Self-source, CAN bus, that shiz. It's the new BigTreeTech CAN expansion board was similar to wait, is the new BigTreeTech CAN expansion board similar to the U2C board? I don't know which CAN expansion board you're referring to. I know BigTreeTech was sending a care package that looks like it finally hit the US, so maybe it's in there, but otherwise I haven't seen it. I know there was a handful of new products launched while I was at Rocky Mountain that they were showing off, but I didn't see a CAN bus board specifically. I had to make that decision. I went with BigTreeTech CAN bus and hope to have it running soon. Nice. I think you'll be good. Just take your time, and if you get frustrated, like, come back to it. I need to listen to that more often, but there's so many times where I'm working on something, I get sort of tunnel vision, and I'm like trying the same thing over and over again, like it's gonna work the third time, although it didn't work the first couple times. And then I finally will give up for the day and come back, and it's like sticking out at me, or I think with a fresh set of eyes, like, oh, I should have tried that, and it worked. So just take your time. There's a lot of good documentation. Hopefully the video I created will help. There's also some pretty solid documentation out there. If you just search Clipper, I'll find it for you really quick, unless you've already got it, but Clipper CAN bus help guide. Let's see if that pulls it. Here it is. Yeah, Mazer, Clipper CAN bus, index here. CAN bus Toolhead install. Where's the actual web? Want to know more? Wiki CAN bus. Nope, that's not all what I want. Maybe they've redone. Yeah, this should help. Pasting it here for you. Yeah, this should help quite a bit, I think. As a reference, just some reference material inspired by, yeah, Voron inspired, much like Rat Rig. I think they had something saying our take on a Voron 2.4 similar. Yeah, so they danced around it. They knew what they were doing. They danced around it, you know? Troodon is definitely much closer to an actual Voron. Like, you can't call it a Voron because there's a lot more to a Voron than just, like, to me, like, it's the printing of the parts, the assembling, that's what makes the Voron a Voron. But if we're talking about, like, a clone, let's just use that term, the Troodon is by far the closest clone of a Voron printer out there. Well, to me, SV08 is not a clone. It's inspired, it is inspired by, definitely, but everything is different, really. Like, everything has been modified in some way, shape, or form. It's called a CEB board, 5 CAN ports in one. That sounds awesome. I have not seen that. That sounds like something I might want to run on this. Probably been asked, where do you get the filament roller? This one? This was from my buddy Pie-eyed, and he emailed it to me like forever ago. Let me see if I can find, 1 second here. I don't know if I have an actual link to it. Universal filament holder. Yeah, so I don't actually have, it's called Universal? Okay, here we go. I got the Thingiverse. 1 second here. I think this is the Thingiverse number. Let me see if it is. Let me go. Thingiverse. It's an old model, I know that, but I sort of fell in love with it for a roller type model. Yeah, here we go. Which one is it? Is it adjustable filament guide? Huh. So this is kind of it, but not really. So the one I'm using uses bearings on both sides. Well, this one looks like it uses these printable bearings, which I don't like quite as much. MK3 filament holder, full bowden tube. Weird. I don't know why it's not. Oops. Universal filament holder. Yeah, I don't see the exact one. This is it. This is it. This is it. 2015. This is like a year after I got my first 3D printer. So yeah, this is the one that this is, and I really like it. It does require 608 bearings as well as what is it? 608 bearings, some rubber feet, which are basically just little sticker things that are really nice, and then M2.5 by 10 socket heads. So a couple pieces of hardware, but I really like it. The little feet just, it's really well built. The feet keep it from sliding around when you've got all of these screws kind of like anchor points. So definitely, I'm a big fan of it. I use them quite often when I'm testing out things. So the Esoterical CAN bus guide is much better and more complete than the Mazer's guide. I haven't seen that one. Esoterical CAN bus guide. Can you post that, Phil, in the live stream channel? I wonder when SVOAs will start shipping. Trudon 2.0 uses stealth changer. Yeah. The Trudon that you got, I know that it had some issues, but it seemed like it was mostly on the firmware side or the config versus hardware. How do you feel about it still? Like on the hardware side, do you feel like it's solid? Because it looked really good. I didn't watch the full live stream, but I definitely came in when you were starting to play around with it, and it looked really good. Many thanks. The CB board is star topology, which is not how CAN bus is intended to work. I would leave it for early adopters to figure out if it can be tamed. Just 120 ohm impedance will be wonky. Interesting. Okay. I might still play around with it for fun, just to, 'cause that's what I do. So that I can figure out what's wrong with it and the things that don't work. I redid the printer.cg and Orca profile. It's great now. Hardware seems good. Sick. Is the game plan to turn that to a stealth changer? Alrighty, I think we're gonna call it soon here. I'm gonna finish up my watermelon and my coffee and then hang out for a little bit before Erin's gotta go to work. And then I don't know what her schedule is next Wednesday, but I anticipate, because I'm trying to get sort of caught up, there's some pretty sweet builds. There's some pretty sweet builds coming up. I'm going to try to at least give myself 4 hours next Wednesday to stream just so we can kick some butt on the Journey Maker. So if she works at 4:30, I'll probably start streaming at 11 my time, which would be 10 a.m. Pacific Standard. If she doesn't work or works later, then it'll be normal time. So I'll find out in the next couple of days here, then I will schedule something. But it's going to be fun. My goal is to kick butt. We'll see how that goes. Cool. Thank you, Phil. That's a possibility to rather focus on the SVO8. Is your goal you're going to try to figure out how to mount the brackets and stuff until changing SVO8? I would think you would have to, so you'd be stripping it down then, you'd be removing the stock toolhead and dragon burnering it, I would imagine, which I would think you could do. The only thing I'm not certain of is how the belt path differs from 2.4 or Micron Plus. I haven't done a side-by-side look or comparison. It might be the same though, because they're using a lot of similar things in that regard, so something like that for the SVO8. Gotcha. Which builds are coming up? So what I'm aware of is positron Journey Maker, Milo 1.5, and then we should be jumping into a Rat Rig VCore 4, and then possibly right around the time after that completes NXK3. That's probably the spread. There's absolutely a chance, there's a good chance there will be stuff sprinkled in that. Things might get delayed, things might get swapped, but the ones I know right now definitively is positron Journey Maker followed by Milo, because those are here. The rest of them are impending arrival and stuff like that. So hey, Killa's here. I'm about to head out, but I'm glad you made it in for a sec. It was nice to meet you and check out the Stinger. I bet you that's what he was saying. Stinger's got to get on that list. Be ready for K3 support. VCore 4 and positron, you say? Me too. Yeah. I'm starting the Journey Maker. So I got the I self-sourced a bunch of it and then got the custom machine part. So it's not the LDO one. I would like to build the LDO one to sort of have a comparison of, you know, my self-sourced versus the kit and like things I like versus don't, because the Journey Maker is now, the recommendation was to use the BigTreeTech micro probe instead of the IR sensor. So there's definitely some difference in both assembly and hardware. So I'm curious to see kind of how they fare, but I think price-wise, I want to say I spent like $400, and that was with they provided the CNC kit. I bought this special bed, which was there a pop-up right now? I feel like I heard something. Hey, it's from Anonymous. Waiting to see how the Journey Maker goes, waiting to pull a trigger on here. Probably these lives will be the trigger. Thank you, Anonymous, for the $5 tip. I was like, I thought I heard something. So this is, I bought this bed, which is not the standard bed for the Journey Maker, but it's a heated bed, but it's got an edge connector, one heating element here, one heating element here, and I don't remember if they said there's a coating that it passes. I don't really remember how this works technology-wise, but yeah, this is the bed for it. So I'm excited. It's gonna be fun. They have a full BOM and all the custom parts you can source directly from them. They sell that, and then everything else is basically AliExpress. So I think I started sourcing stuff like 60 days ago, roughly. So it's all here. It's a coating. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's crazy. So that bed was pretty pricey. I think it was close to $100. I didn't have to use that bed. They have the bed on their website for half that price, or close to half that price, $50, which is like the honeycomb style bed. I think this is the same stuff that's in like your rear window of your car. I'm almost positive. But I thought that the all clear would look pretty cool, and they had one left. I think from like an earlier batch, so I was like, screw it, I'll try that one out. So I spent a little bit more than needed, but they have the full BOM. This is what they say it cost, roughly $526. So, and $526 is with everything. I mean, it's like the wire for the harness, it's your belts, it's your lead screws, it's your rails. Rails are custom. It's, yeah, all the machine parts. And then the rest of it's all just there's a lot of different hardware. That's probably what's going to trip me up the most, is there's a ton of different hardware. And I don't have it all nicely in an organizer. So it's going to be interesting for me to juggle all that stuff. I have a Micro Pro B2 attached to an EVB36, so that helps. Nice. How do you like it? I haven't used it. Gotta pick your MCU board carefully. If using Micro Pro, lots of BigTreeTech boards are having compatibility issues. Interesting. I'm using specifically the Pico, which I've never used the Pico before, but that was in the BOM, and that's what I was told everyone's using. So hopefully it'll work fine, because I don't think people have been deviating too much from the official BOM. So hopefully that's what people have been testing it on. Thank you for the stream. Looking forward to all the builds. I just got a 3D printing again a month ago. Oh man. Yeah, thank you for tuning in. There is so much fun stuff. Currently I'm building one of those already built an AM8 conversion switchwire. It looks pretty good. Nice. That's awesome. You forgot Stealth Press Zero coming out in mid-May. I'm just trolling. I am excited to see your mini Stealth Press. You're gonna build a Sub-Zero? I don't know. It's adorable. Maybe Jackson's first printer. Hey, I have an idea. Imagine reverse positron. Gosh. Okay, everybody. I think on that note, I'm gonna end it. I'm gonna go downstairs, hang out for a little bit, and then I'm trying to get a video done for Saturday. I am running way behind because of Rocky Mountain Rep Fest, but I have something I'm working on, and I think that I might be able to get it done. So fingers crossed. I really don't like missing Saturday videos, but I can only crunch so much in, so I'm gonna do my best. But anyways, thank you everybody for hanging out. Congratulations to our giveaway winner. Thank you, Paul and Maker Puddings. Do that. Thank you for all of our renewed members, new members, gifted memberships. There was a bunch of them, as well as donations. And thank you everybody for the chat, the help. I feel like I always learn a lot, and there's definitely some useful information and things to consider. I've got a handful of questions to reach out to BigTreeTech with. Some that I thought of during the stream, and other ones that were sort of asked of me, which I'm like, that's a good question, I'll find out. So again, next Wednesday, we will start the Positron Journey Maker build, which will be a ton of fun. I'm hoping for the best. I never know with a new build. Every time I start a new build, I get like excited and like a little bit nervous, especially I built quite a few Vorons now, so I kind of know the lay of their manuals, but going with a different manual, it's always like a little bit of a learning adjustment to see like how things are laid out and worded. So maybe I'll do a little bit of looking through it ahead of time to get a general lay of the land. So we'll see. Okay, don't forget your free pies on Discord. I need to message you. I will absolutely do my best to message you in the next day here. I'll try to clear through my messages. So, all right, everybody, have a great rest of your Wednesday, and I will hopefully catch y'all next time. Cheers.